Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi out here is Tuesday, and the Raptors are going to play Detroit today twice. We're going to play Detroit Pistons, going to play Motor City Cruise in the first round of the G League playoffs here at Paramount Fine Food Center, 7 o'clock tip off. Yeah, so 2 games tonight, double duty, watching Raptors 905 versus Motor City Cruise and Raptors versus Detroit Pistons in the middle of a big playoff fight for the Toronto Raptors. So yeah, we got to cover both games for a preview. I'm going to start with the 905 first because they start earlier. They start at 7. The Raptors game is at 7:30. So yeah, we're going to do 905 first. All right, so they're playing Motor City Cruise and they've played them twice this year, both times in Mississauga, and they beat them both times. And one of the times they didn't have AJ and Elijah because, well, they were away with the Raptors, and, well, they're not going to be with them today. AJ and Elijah and Markelle Fultz are in Detroit to play against the Pistons, but Trace Jackson Davis is with the 905 to play against the Motor City Cruise. So, and this is good because the last time we played Motor City Cruise, Trace played for 905, and he was essential for us to be able to beat them. It was a very close game. We beat them by 1 point. And I mean, we had Elijah and AJ also in that game, which is, it's concerning. I don't totally get this logic. I really don't. I mean, Trevor and I were discussing it yesterday, and I just don't get it. I think that, you've gone so hard all year, and the team that you played for a lot this year is playing in a one and done playoff game tonight. If they don't win, they're done for the season. Why wouldn't you let Martin and Lawson play in the G League game so that they could kick some butt and keep that going? I don't know. I don't agree with this. Trevor's saying it's because they have injuries and on the Raptors and guys are missing, and I get that, but I still don't get this. I don't get this at all. I feel like this is a dumb move. Hopefully, they beat the Motor City Cruise regardless, but I do not agree with this. I feel like at least one of them should be back in Mississauga and not on the road in Detroit with the Raptors because this is an important game. And in some ways, we want Andrew Jones to have the best team possible for 905 to try and beat the Motor City Cruise. So I don't totally agree with it. The refs for the G League playoff game, well, we've got 4 of them because there's an alternate because it's playoffs. Brent Haskell is going to be the crew chief today. Brent is from Fort Myers, Florida. He's in his 5th season as a non-staff official for the NBA, number 92. His favorite TV show is I Think You Should Leave. His favorite movie is the Taylor Swift movie, The Eras Tour. He likes Taylor Swift. His favorite book is Catch Me If You Can. His favorite meal is Matar Paneer. His favorite app is Flighty. He'd most like to visit Fiji. His bucket list is an Antarctica cruise, and his hidden talent is juggling. Yeah, Brent Haskell in high school was a Florida High School Athletic Association cross country and track and field state finalist. His interests include traveling, geocaching, golf, and attending baseball games. That's pretty cool. He geocaches? Yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, Brent Haskell is the crew chief for the 905 playoff game with Castine Evans as the referee, number 11. Cameron Jelenis is the umpire, number 54. And the alternate, just in case, is Rachel Wood, number 44. Yeah, we've had Cam Jelenis a lot in the last couple games for 905. So, yeah, this is a big game. And the Motor City Cruise are kind of a big team. That's the thing. That's the thing about them. They've got size. And in particular, a certain player that has been an issue at different times this season for the Raptors organization. And that person is Isaac Jones. In the summer, he was on the Sacramento Kings Summer League team. And we butted up against him in the finals of the Summer League Championship finals with Sacramento versus Toronto. We did not win. and partly it was because of big, burly Isaac Jones. Now, I don't know if Isaac Jones is going to be playing for the Motor City Cruise today because just like the Raptors, the Detroit Pistons have a lot of injuries right now. And it could be that they are all their two ways are up also. And that in some ways, it's like AJ and Elijah being with the Raptors today isn't a big deal because Bobby Clintman and uh, Isaac Jones will be up for the Pistons also. I don't know. I don't know how to call this. In some ways, we'll see who shows up and who plays in the game in Mississauga tonight. Also on the Motor City Cruise, Jaden Eggkins, Dawson Garcia, Matthew Moncrief, Wendell Moore Jr., Maki Mitchell, Quincy Olivari. He was annoying. Drew Peterson, Omar Stanley, Tulu Smith. He's probably going to be with the Pistons because he did play last night. So he's probably going to be with the Pistons tonight, not with the Motor City Cruise. Samir Torrance, John Uko Madu, and Bryce Williams. That is the roster for Motor City Cruise. We're going to play them in the G League playoffs today. And this is a one and done playoff. If you lose, you're out. If you win, you go on. I kind of sent a message to Andrew Jones yesterday saying, hey, do you have a list of all the chain winners for 905? Because I just wanted to see the comprehensive list. And he said, no, I don't have a list. You can check on 905 social media and just check all the posts and kind of figure it out from that. And he said, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But yeah, he told me that he is trying to keep going. He wants to win today, and he wants to have another game after this one. So, yeah, this is a big deal for Andrew Jones, the game tonight against Motor City Cruise. So, yeah, hopefully Trace Jackson Davis can be the most dominant big man out of all the big men and get the win for the Raptors 905. Man, the birds are out in the yard right now. I got to get the feeder set up. Man, they're out like right now. There's a ton of them. This is good to see them. I'm glad they're back. All right, let's do the latest lineup news for the Raptors at Detroit Pistons. Of course, last night, Detroit Pistons played the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it went to overtime, and they lost. So they lost their last game, and they may be a little upset about that. In some ways, I debate whether it's better for them to win or lose in these kind of games ahead of us, because sometimes when they lose, they're pissed off and they're more agitated to try and want to win the next game. And that could be the case tonight. I do appreciate SGA and the Thunder crew for making them play into overtime and tiring them out even worse. And the other great thing is that they had to play in Oklahoma City. They actually traveled last night back from Oklahoma City to Detroit to be able to play us tonight. So they are playing on a back-to-back with travel and an overtime game last night. So this bodes well for the Raptors right there. We will be on a back-to-back tomorrow because we're coming back to Toronto to play DeMar DeRozan, Precious Achiuwa, and the Sacramento Kings at home tomorrow night. And so we're on the first night of a back-to-back. So these are all factors involved in things for today. All right, our injury list is a little bit extensive here. So let me start off with it. Chucky Hepburn is out. Jamison Battle is out. It's not injury related, though. He's sick. That's what they're saying. He's sick. That's why he wasn't on the bench in the last game on Sunday, is because Jamison's contagious, and they don't want Jamison around the team right now. So Jamison Battle is sick. Colin Murray-Boyles is listed as questionable for today's game due to his back spasms, not his thumb. Brandon Ingram is questionable for today due to his heel injury. Emmanuel Quickley is already ruled out for today's game due to his plantar fasciitis. So no IQ today, guys. So just so you know, RJ is on the injury list today, but he is probable. He has a shoulder injury. You've seen him holding his shoulder since he ran into Zion Williamson and when we played New Orleans last week. So, yeah, RJ is officially on the injury list, but he's probable. He's going to play. You know he's going to play. So, yeah, I might guess that Brandon will come back today. Yeah, I think he should. I think he should come back today. We might need him for tonight. So we'll have to see. But yeah, a lot of injuries on the list there, and that's probably why Lawson and Martin are with the Raptors, just for depth. Maybe as Trevor said, they're getting rewarded for their great play against the Orlando Magic on Sunday. So yeah, speculating our starting lineup, I'm gonna say it's gonna be Shed, Walter, Barrett, Barnes, and Pirtle. So yeah, we should have the same starting lineup as last Sunday. And yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad right there. We'll have to see how they perform against a top team like Detroit. Now, Detroit has all kinds of issues right now. They had pretty much their starters are out at this point. We know Cade Cunningham has a collapsed lung and he is out right now. He is definitely not playing today. So their MVP candidate, their best player, is definitely not going to be playing tonight. Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew, will miss another game against the Raptors. He's missed all 3 games against us this season. I'm not complaining, but yeah, Beef Stew is still out due to a calf injury, so he won't be playing today. Jalen Duren did not play last night. I don't know if that means he's out for today too, but he has a knee injury. He's listed as out for last night. We'll see if he's still out today, but it's very likely he is out. Tobias Harris has a hip injury, and he missed the game last night, and he was probably out for today too. And then Duncan Robinson, the sharpshooter, has a hip injury also, and he was out last night, didn't play last night either. So there's a lot of main players right there. That's like their starting lineup right there that is missing. So the Pistons are in a weakened state. So who's left if all these guys are out? Well, they brought up Dennis Jenkins, former two-way and G League superstar, has been driving the points for them at starting point guard in Cade Cunningham's absence. Now, this is the thing, man. This guy's a young guy. He was a G League player last year, and he's getting thrust into a really important role for the Pistons, and he's thriving right now. But he's still an inexperienced guy who has not been, around the block too much in the NBA. So Dennis Jenkins is the starting point guard with Cade out. Ausar Thompson is healthy. He's the only starter regular for them that is around right now. Kevin Huerter has been playing at shooting guard, started for them recently. The Kevin Huerter, formerly of the Atlanta Hawks. Yeah, we're going to have to watch out for him. He is dangerous if he gets going. Karis LeVert, he'll probably be starting today, possibly. Paul Reed has been starting at center, the former Sixer. He had a big game last night. At last, they still lost. Maybe Marcus Sasser gets a start. I don't know. We're just speculating here. I think it'll be Jenkins, Huerter, Thompson, Reed, and maybe LeVert that'll be starting for the Pistons tonight. It could be a little bit different, though. Also off the bench for them, they've got Ronald Holland II. They've got Marcus Sasser. They've got Javonte Green. They've got Tulu Smith. They've got Bobby Clintman and Isaac Jones. And those guys are their two-ways. And so, in some ways, this is interesting because the Pistons are hurt. They need their two-ways up. Will they care about them being at Motor City Cruise or with the Pistons? It's a very interesting dilemma. And the Raptors are in the same boat. What do they value? Do these G League championships don't matter? So that it's like, no, just feed the big team. But the Pistons are number one, and they're not really going to lose their number one seed. They're pretty good, right? I don't know. What's the logic? In some ways, when I see the lineups for the games tonight, it'll make more sense. You know what I'm saying? It'll make more sense. So the game, they've got us not favored. They have the Pistons favored tonight, and that makes sense since they're the number one team in the East. ESPN matchup predictor is saying 66% that the Pistons have the likelihood to win tonight. So, yeah, we'll have to see about that. They did lose last night, as I said, but they have won a lot. They've only lost twice since we beat them on March the 15th. They've been pretty steady winning, even with Cade Cunningham out. They only lost to Atlanta in overtime and the Thunder in overtime. But they've won 6 games otherwise since they played us, including a win over the Lakers. So this they've been rolling. Even though Cunningham has a collapsed lung, they've still been going good. But I think they're ripe for the picking today. So hopefully we can do that. All right, let's look at the referees for our game tonight. In the replay center in New Jersey, it's Ashley Moyer Gleish, Eric Lewis, and Ray Acosta will be sitting in there. Yeah, those are dubious refs in the replay center. They're not necessarily the nicest refs in the replay center. All right, we have the big enchilada tonight for our crew chief. It is one of the most notorious refs in the league, but it's one that I don't mind, even though he has not been good to us this year so far. It's Tony Brothers. Yeah, Tony Brothers is going to be the crew chief tonight in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena. Number 25 in his 32nd season out of Norfolk, Virginia. His favorite TV show is 24. His favorite movie is Claudine. He likes to listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire. His favorite book is the Bible. His favorite meal is fried croakers. His favorite app is Spotify. His hidden talent is cooking. Yeah, Tony Brothers considers his most memorable NBA assignment to be his NBA Finals debut, Game 2 between the Miami Heat and the Oklahoma City Thunder in 2012. Yeah, Tony. Oh, my goodness. Technically, Tony, we've lost both games so far this season that he has appeared in when in a Raptors game. We're 0-2 for the season when Tony Brothers is present. We win overall in his career 46% of our games, which is below our franchise record. So he has been a detriment ref to us in the aggregate over the 30 years. But he's just slightly higher percentage win for us with 46. He's 45% winning for the Pistons in his career for them. So 46-45 is very even. In fact, with the home court advantage for the Pistons, I'm going to say Tony Brothers is even today. Even between him for this matchup. The second ref tonight is John Butler Jr. We've had him recently, number 30 in his 7th season out of Biloxi, Mississippi. His favorite TV show is Chappelle's Show. He likes the movie Do the Right Thing. He listens to Jay-Z. His favorite book is Chop Wood, Carry Water. Red beans and rice is his favorite meal. His favorite app is the Bible, and he most like to visit Africa. Yeah, we've had John a lot this year. We've had him 5 times already this year. This will be the 6th game that he has officiated for us. So, yeah, John Butler has officiated 277 regular season games and 1 playoff game in 6 seasons as an NBA staff official. He made his playoff debut as an NBA ref in the 2024-2025 season. Yeah, we are 4-2 with John Butler this year. So that's not bad. That's not bad. Actually, we're 4-1. Sorry, I read that wrong. We're 4-1. So we've only had him 5 times. This will be the 6th time. So we're 4-1 with him. And we have a 53% winning percentage. He's actually the best ref for us today as far as winning percentage. The Pistons are his worst team. They have the worst winning percentage out of all 30 teams in the NBA with John Butler, and that's 28% winning. So 53-28 for the Raptors with second ref John Butler. The third ref is a problem. He was a ref recently in one of the games, and he's just not a nice ref to the Raptors. He's been mean to us his whole career, and he's just one of the worst towards us. It's Musa Dagger, number 28, his 8th season out of Syria. His favorite TV show is America's Got Talent. He likes the movie Coach Carter. He listens to Drake. His favorite book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. His favorite meal is sushi. He likes to use YouTube. He'd most like to visit Thailand. He'd like to time travel to experience New Year's Eve twice, and he can play the piano. Musa, we've had once this year, and we lost. Musa's officiated 2 seasons in the NBA G League. He also has 6 years of collegiate experience with stints in the Big Sky, Big West, and Western Athletic Conferences. Yeah, he's not a good ref for us. He is the worst ref today, I would say. We lost the only game he ref this year, and I believe that was the one with Scott Foster. Was it with Scott Foster? It was one of the worst ref crews we've had this year. No, he was on a ref crew with Mark Davis, and it was one of the ones recently. But yeah, we lost the last game he reffed. We win 40% of our games in the history of Musa Dagger refereeing Raptors, and the Pistons win 46% of their games. So 40 to 46 for the Pistons with the third ref, Musa. Yeah. Tony Brothers is fine. A lot of people have problems with Tony Brothers, but I understand him. He is a ref that wants you to respect the game and the refs in the league. And if you don't do those three things, then he can be punitive. And well, that's what I'm saying. So listen to Tony, respect the game and play it right, which means play hard, play tough, get after it, and he will reward you instead of punish you. Trust me. I've figured out his psychology. He's actually a great ref for this. John Butler and Musa Dagger will definitely follow Tony's lead. And well, hopefully these guys will be fair. John Butler was okay the last time he refed us, but Musa Dagger was not. So I'll be watching all three of them individually. And I know that Tony will be fair. So I don't really see him doing a ref hit job on us either. He's not usually like that. Now, if I'm wrong and something funny happens tonight in a close game, I'll have to talk about it tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll be right and he won't be an issue in any kind of way. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. I have the old chat, so don't worry. I didn't erase it. I'll start there. Trevor J saying, words of wisdom. Bring your mind back to how blessed you already are. There's already something to be grateful for every day. I'm grateful for playoff G League basketball. In some ways, man, I kind of want to go to the game, but I know if I go to the game, I'm gonna miss the Raptors Pistons game, and I won't be able to watch it. So I'm like, why do these games have to be on the same day? I guess there was no avoiding it. The Raptors were going to be playing on these 2 days no matter what. When the G League playoffs start, they're going to be playing games today and tomorrow in the first round. So it didn't matter. So in some ways, might as well get the game over before April Fool's Day tomorrow. And hopefully Drew Jones can get us the next playoff game by winning today against Motor City Cruise. I have a lot of faith in their team. I have a lot of faith in their culture. I have a lot of faith in their program and how they set up this team and to operate this season. Even if people are missing, the first time we played Motor City Cruise, we still had Julian Reese, Olivier Sarr, and David Roddy, and they all played in that game and helped us beat them. The second time we played them, we didn't have those guys, but we did have AJ Lawson, Elijah Martin, and Trace Jackson Davis playing for the Raptors 905. It's going to be a tall order. In some ways, the Motor City Cruise is a big team, and we have to match them with size. And that's why TJD is there, because he's going to have to be that kind of guy. It's going to be really important for him, Tyrese Samuel, Quincy Guerrier, and Tyson Dagenhart to hold it down physically as the bigs for Drew Jones today. Because, man, there's a big team across the way, especially if Isaac Jones is going to play. Very big team. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, man, there's so much to be blessed for. And I say G League playoffs is a blessing, and also a Raptors game is a blessing. But blessings to the Jones family and all the Raptor Freak families. I appreciate you, Trevor. Let's see. Trevor J has brought up something. All right, I wanted to do this in a segment. You guys are all so happy to see this news that you're putting it in the comments, but I want to do this as the Raptors Redditor of the day. Raptors Redditor of the day is Ion has Costas is God. And he's saying that Masai Ujiri has been officially announced this morning as a principal owner in the Toronto Tempo. This is a very interesting story that's come out now about Masai and this. Principal owner, Toronto Tempo. Not general manager, not president of operations, none of that stuff. He is in ownership, and he is not in management, but we know he's a genius in management, and his wealth of knowledge and advice is at the disposal of Teresa Resch. This is a very good person to have in your ownership group because he's a championship kind of guy. He's got a pedigree. And, well, it'll be interesting to see how much Ujiri interacts with the Tempo, because he could be very prominent in the process in the next month. It just has kind of a guy in the room sitting in the corner. And who knows? And so what do you think, Masai? "Oh, I think you should get that girl's. Yeah, she seems very, very, very good." Something like that. Who knows? Who knows? But it's not a bad person to have around for advice, resources, reference, just expertise. So yeah, it's cool. The other thing that's interesting about this is we've all been speculating what the next move for Masai Ujiri would be. Everybody saying, oh, he's going to go work for this team, or he's going to go do this, he's going to go do that. Well, this is honestly the first thing he's done since having to leave the Raptors. And other than Giants Africa, he's been doing that stuff, which he was already doing. This is the new venture, and it's in Toronto. It's not in the States. It's not anywhere down across the border. It doesn't have nothing to do with no NBA team. It has to do with a WNBA team, and it's Toronto's WNBA team. So, I mean, we speculated this last summer. What is his next move? And well, he made it very clear in some ways on the down low that his family lives in Toronto, that his wife, she has all her friends and her social life here in Toronto, that his children have their friends and their social lives here in Toronto. So he wasn't leaving Toronto. So he's a part of the ownership group of the Tempo. This is awesome. This is fantastic news. And like I said, this is not a bad person to have on your team. We know this in Toronto with the Raptors. And well, Larry and Masai, they're like this still, man. And Ed Rogers III can't get between this one. That's right. That's right. So it's awesome. This is fantastic, joyous news about Masai Ujiri. Yeah, Monique is here. Super fan Mo. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Happy doubleheader day. Yeah, we get a chance for a double W. The last time we had this chance, it was against the Utah Jazz organization, and we got the job done, beating both their G League team and their regular team in the same day. And well, we get a chance to do that against a top Eastern Conference team, the Detroit Pistons, along with their G League team in the first round of the G League playoffs, the Motor City Cruise. So yeah, this is going to be a big one today. Let's see. She's saying 9:05 playoffs begin. Tempo added Carly Clark yesterday. I wrote to Carly and she saw it. Yeah, Carly Clark. I don't know much about her, but I know that she's Canadian and that she's going to be an assistant coach for the Tempo. And it seems like it's a very smart hire because we want those roots and ties to Canada, not just with players but with coaches. And she seems like the type of person that worked really well under Sandy Brondello. It could very well be that there's some familiarity between each other already, or it could be somebody just fresh and new that they interviewed and the personalities match, and it'll be a new chemistry and synergy between Carly and Sandy and Olaf and Monica Wright Rogers. It'll be very cool. We'll have to see how this goes down with Carly being the new coach, Carly Clark. Yeah, I have to do my research on her. I didn't get a chance to yesterday. I should have, just so I can find out more about her accolades. You know what? Let me go do it right now. Why not? Lex is going to do a live reaction to Carly Clark, and what's going on with her in her wait, is she even on Wikipedia? That's crazy. She should be. All right, hang on. Let me Google her instead. See where I find her. Because it didn't look like there was a Wikipedia page for her. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Yeah, so she's been working for Toronto Metropolitan University. She's from Halifax, and she's been a longtime national team coach for Canada in women's basketball. Very, very cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, she doesn't have a Wikipedia page. So I can't get that information there. She should have one. She should have one. That's right. She's the first Canadian coach of Canada's first WNBA team. That's a pretty big deal there. Okay. Let's see. She's been involved in Team Canada women's team in the Olympics, which is fantastic. Yeah, I wonder about how she played, like whether she probably played herself, right? She probably played herself, so she's probably got a pretty interesting career. All right, let's keep going in the comments. Let's see. Monique has brought up that 19 years ago, yesterday was Mo Pete's half court shot in Washington. Okay, all right. That's a I don't know. I'm not doing all the anniversaries of shots, but that's good to note, I guess. 19 years ago. Come tell me next year when it's 20-year anniversary. I like that. Let's see. Trevor's happy. Masai is back as the owner of the Tempo. Most saying this. I have 2 more games on my schedule, Lex, the 7th and the 12th. Fanapalooza. Remember Fanapalooza back in the day? Well, I see the 7th game is the Miami Heat game. And I don't know if that game's going to be as important at that point because it seems like the Florida teams are just sinking, sinking in the standings. Yeah, Fanapalooza is going on. Okay, cool. They used to have that. I kind of remember that. Trevor's saying happy game day and beat the Pistons tonight. They're on a back-to-back. Yep. We talked about that. They're in overtime loss to the Thunder. It was crazy because I thought, okay, they're going to lose. Okay, they're going to win. Okay, they're going to lose. It's like that. There's a wolf in my backyard. Wow. Look at that. He's a bad boy. That may be a coyote. I don't know. That looked like a wolf. That was bigger. There's a wolf in my yard. Interesting. I have not seen a wolf like that walking through my yard yet. I'm not upset about it. That's good. It's the ecosystem. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Jimmy Pope is here. Jimmy, good to see you, the Pope of Positivity. Messiah part of the Tempo. Love to see it. Still think it's ridiculous we let him go. His iteration of the team is currently making a huge jump and looking to shock people in the postseason. F. Ed Rogers. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, in some ways, Messiah forever. Fuck you, Keith Pelly. Ed Rogers, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Just because you hate Messiah? Just because you're an idiot? So stupid. So stupid. Yeah, Monique saying Messiah part of the Tempo announced an hour ago. Beyond excited. I hear you, Jimmy. Yeah, she'll add her FU to Keith Pelly and Ed Rogers herself. You should say it to Keith next time you see him in person. Fuck you, Keith Pelly. Man, I would if I saw him. And maybe he'd be like, did I ruin your weekend? I'm like, fuck you, Keith Pelly. You did. You did ruin my weekend. I thought it was a dog. It was weird. I was like, oh, there's a dog out there. No, that's not a dog. That's a wolf. And I think it was legitimately a wolf. It was too big. I don't think it was a coyote. It could have been a big coyote, though. I'm not totally sure. No, I think that was a wolf because they howl out here all the time. I hear them in my woods. They're out there. They are out there. Trust me. I'm not scared of wolves though. See, because like I'm in good standing with nature and God and stuff with the natural world. I'm not trying to destroy it right now. They can tell that energy. That's why a pack of wolves will go eat up a hunter before they'll eat up me. They ain't trying to mess with me. Let's keep going. All right. Yeah. G saying Tempo have a seriously good front office, ownership, and coaching staff. Wow. Well, let's see how this goes. I think that there's a very interesting special situation with the labor agreement happening so quickly recently that there's a window of surprise, a window of opportunity where the Tempo can do some big splash and make a big impact right away because of Sandy, because the novelty of Toronto Tempo being inaugural. There's a lot of power in this. And Masai Ujiri being involved, Serena Williams, come on now. People want to be around greatness. And Serena Williams, Masai Ujiri, those are two greatness kind of people. So that's going to be very attractive. I mean, Sandy Brondello, greatness. Monica Wright Rogers, greatness. Teresa Resch, greatness. Larry Tannenbaum, greatness. It's like everybody involved so far is greatness. And I think that G's right. G's exactly right. Fiercely saying this, good morning, fam, and happy game day. Without Cade, Pistons are not the same in terms of having a good facilitator. Let's make the most of it. One of the things about them playing last night is that Darko and our coaching staff can sit back and watch them. Just kind of kick back and check them out, see what's going on. Yeah. They get a fresh scout because they flew into Detroit, which I don't understand totally. I'd be riding the bus. But anyway, but yeah, they want to get there quick. They flew into Detroit and they were hanging around last night watching that game and just waiting. I mean, what a great perfect scout. The team could watch the game together in the hotel room. You get the coaches and the players together and sit in there and watch Thunder versus Pistons overtime game, pick it apart. Look at this. Oh, look what Jenkins just did. Oh, look at that's what they're doing since Duran's not in. That stuff, getting a scout and getting a game plan formulated. It could very well be that the Raptors have a really smart decisions for tonight, and we see some really good results because of it. It's pretty cool. I like that. I like that. Yeah. All right, let me keep going with the chat. Let's see. Isaac's got me on blast. I love it. Thank you, Isaac. And Superfan Mo celebrating the Messiah. Chriscom, ew, Raptors freak. Good morning, Chriscom. Do you have a prediction for our score tonight in either game? Would you like to predict the Raptors Pistons game tonight and tell us what's up? W for Messiah. That's right, Isaac. W for Messiah. All right, here he goes. Chriscom saying, I'm going to the 905 game. Yeah. Chriscom, go down there and get loud like I would. Every single time Motor City Cruise has the ball, yell defense as loud as you can. And you know what? If you're going to the game and you don't have your tickets yet, get courtside, my guy, if you can afford it. Seriously, go to that game and sit right next to the court and be a part of the game. As far as don't get out there, but vocalize and be a part of the game. Man, I'm so proud of you, Great Crisco. I'm happy that you're going to the game today, man. That is so good, man. Yeah, you're expecting a dub. Are you saying AJ won't be at the game? No, AJ is in Detroit. He played so well against the Magic on Sunday that Darko needs him with the injuries to Emmanuel and Jamison Battle and a couple other people being out. That they've decided that Martin and Lawson need to be with the big squad. So they are not going to be at that playoff game. So they're going to need you more at 905 because of that. But they will have Trace Jackson Davis at the 905 game today. So they will have the big man, number 32, to play for them. So, yeah, let's see. Jimmy's saying they must feel they need them in Detroit. B.I. Quick and Colin might not be back today. So we need the bodies. Plus, they played amazing against Orlando. Yeah, that's in some ways it's always like a question I have. How much do we give a shit about like winning the G League stuff? Because it seems like sometimes Raptors decisions about putting guys up on the Toronto Raptors screws up the competitiveness of the 905. It's like I wish we could spread both to be healthy and do as well as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like spread them both around. It's annoying because it's like we could get such a good body of work with the 905 all season. We had the best overall record in the G League for both seasons combined. That's a graphic that's out there. Monique, you notice that they put that out there, the combined record. And it's the best one out of all the G League teams this year. They put a lot of work in for 6 months. And when there's a one and done game like tonight, I'm like, why wouldn't you put your best foot forward and use all of your guys that are available or are eligible to play in this game? I would be saying send Markel, send Jonathan Mobo, send AJ and Elijah, send everybody who had any kind of prominent role with the Raptors 905 this season at any point there, just to have the weapons and the great talent available to Drew Jones for him, because this is a one and done. They don't win today, they're done. They're done. The Raptors got 7 more games after tonight. So it's like, but you weigh that with the Raptors are in the middle of a very heated standings with the Hawks tied with them as of last night because the Celtics couldn't beat the Hawks last night. So the Hawks are tied with us and even, but we have the tiebreaker because we swept them this season. But they're right there, breathing down our neck. And Philadelphia and Charlotte and other teams are below us, breathing down our neck. So I don't know. It's like, how do you weigh which one should be what? And I guess the value of a G League kind of thing to an NBA win, is an NBA win more important than a G League playoff game? I don't know. Where's the valuation there? Is what I'm wondering right now, you know? Yeah. Uji Buji's in the house. Good to see Uji Buji. Jimmy's saying with Atlanta winning, this is a huge game for us. Plus, the Pistons are on a second night of a back-to-back coming off a loss to OKC. They're ripe for the picking. They are ripe for the picking. And in some ways, we're playing at a high level. They're playing wounded and hurt, and they're having a hard time in some ways, but they are keeping pace also in other ways. So yeah, this is a big one right here. This is a tough one right here. That's right. Let's see. HC, the one defeated. Masai is back. That's right. Let's check in on our fantasy in the final four. And HC's got a lead on me after one night of action last night. And it looks like Kaz has a slight lead over Amit Gaming in the other side of the semifinals. So yeah. And then in the consolation bracket, Nins is beating Jason Dukes. And James has got the lead over MK so far. But yeah, big matchups. HC, good luck this week, and to the best team win. But the one defeated is going to be tough. I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat him. Yeah. Uji Buji saying morning to the Lex and the Freak crew. Yeah. Big game test today for the Raptors. Got to work hard against the Pistons and keep this pace work going. Defend and pass with intention. And we can do this again. The other thing about this matchup tonight is it's the rubber match for the series for the season with Detroit. We won this last game. They won the first game against us this year. So it's 1-1. And whoever wins this game tonight will win the season series. There is some feelings of bragging and feeling good about that for Scotty over Cade Cunningham, I'm sure. And just in some ways, it's like you want to be able to say, well, we won the season series against the Eastern Conference leading Detroit Pistons, don't you, Raptors? So maybe we should try and beat them tonight and kick their ass so we can say we won the season series. Because, yeah, we win tonight. It's 2-1. We only play them 3 times this season. So, yeah, that's another factor in why we would want to win today is win that season series. That's right. Fiercely saying, I love the fact that Masai's news broke in the wee hours of the morning. So amazing to wake up to this. You know, I had kind of heard that this was going to happen a while back, but I'd forgotten about it. You know, the ties of Masai to the Tempo make sense. His 2 of his favorite people are involved in the Tempo, Teresa Resch and Larry Tannenbaum. So, of course, they're going to keep in contact. And Larry's going to be very overjoyed to have Masai in the ownership group with him because, you know, they're just really close. You got to understand, you know, the ties that bind Tannenbaum and Ujiri are just unbreakable. They're very, very strong. Very, very, very strong. I mean, Larry Tannenbaum, he loves basketball so much. And when the Raptors won, that was an extremely huge dream come true for Larry. And, you know, he's got to look at Masai as being one of the principal people that brought his dream to fruition. So, yeah, they're like this. They're like this. So this totally makes sense. Win, win, win. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, you know, Masai said Toronto's going to win again. You know, he didn't elaborate, though. I thought he meant the Raptors. I'm pretty sure he does mean the Raptors, too. But, yeah, the Tempo, yeah, I could see them winning some WNBA championships down the road, especially if we get on the good foot and we have some very astute moves to start our team from the start. Yeah, that would be very, very interesting to see what happens next month, starting tomorrow. That's right. Uji Buji saying, always best of luck to the 905. We need to play intense and bring our best effort right away. Dudes like Key and Guerrier will have to step up, but we will be cheering them on for some home cooking. Yeah, I mean, Tyreek Key, Jarkel Joyner, Tyson Degenhart, AJ Hogard, Quincy Guerrier, Tyrese Samuel. You know, these guys, they're going to have to step up and do good stuff. And they have. Tyreek Key has been fantastic in the last month. AJ Hogard has came on stronger and stronger as the season went on. And the addition of Tyrese Samuel has given us some muscle and size after our bigs were pilfered to the league in 2 ways. You know, another guy that we've been missing on the down low that has sucked that we haven't had around recently is Patrick McCaw, who disappeared from the team midway through the season for some reason and has not been available to them for pretty much like 2 months now. But yeah, we've lost a lot of different guys different ways this season. And, Andrew Jones has done a fantastic job with the patchwork of different guys coming in and new guys coming in and having to learn. They've done a fantastic job. So I don't expect any less today, especially with everything amped up. I mean, they've already been playing with a playoff intensity pretty much this whole entire tip-off tournament season and regular season of G League that I'm going to be curious to see the next gear for the playoffs tonight. Because Andrew Jones, he's going to bring it out of them. Trust me, he will. So he's saying this. Jaden Ivey got waived by the Bulls. He said some very inflammatory stuff. People are cracking a little bit. Right now, society in different ways is going to start showing cracks in different areas, whether it's in the systems of society or whether it's just individuals showing the strain. Yeah, it's scary. In some ways, one of the earlier things that happened with this was AJ Griffin. AJ Griffin, Adrian Griffin's son, who was playing for the Hawks, walked away from his NBA career because of God, because of the rapture, because he truly believes the world is going to end in the next few years. And it might, honestly, with the war in the Middle East, it might. Trust me, the possibility is actually very real right now. But this is the thing. Jaden Ivey flaked out religiously also. And it's crazy because the man don't need to be on Instagram Live. I watched a lot of the stuff about Jaden Ivey yesterday. I watched the lives. I watched what he said. And I know he's off his rocker. There's something weird there. Now, his mother played for WNBA, right? This is something that I don't get. His mother played for WNBA. He's got some ties to the professional leagues from when he was a child because of his mother. In fact, I used to hear stories about how Jaden Ivey used to come to practice, the WNBA practice, and practice with the women of the WNBA. So I don't get this whole anti-LGBTQ attitude of him. Like, your mother played in the WNBA. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Jaden Ivey? Because basically what he did was, he started it all off first by going off on the Pistons. He's pissed that they traded him at trade deadline to the Bulls. And, well, he's going on and on about how the Pistons are going to hell because they did what they did to him. They said they're not Christians. They're not good people. They're going to hell and all this kind of stuff. He just sounded delusional, like really crazy and just like personally hurt, but using the idea of God to smite whoever hurt him. And he's just lashing out and saying all this crazy stuff. Now, that's one thing. To get mad at his former team for letting him go, for feeling like he's washed. I mean, maybe they did a mental check on him. They're like, yeah, this guy's losing it, man. He's cracking up. And, the Pistons were so good this year. The fact that he wasn't a part of why they were good, and he was sitting on the bench all year, that tells you a lot. There's a red flag there, So that's one thing to dish your old team and say the Pistons are going to hell. It's another thing to start going on about how the NBA participates in Pride Month and promoting LGBTQ causes. He basically went on and on saying that it's not righteous being gay, that being gay is wrong, and that the NBA is wrong and for promoting that kind of lifestyle. And say he went on and on about it. And the crazy thing is, this man didn't just go on one live. There was one 45-minute live. He kept jumping on in the last 2 days and just adding more sticks to his fire. There's literally a live IG that happened yesterday while he's on a plane and he's complaining about gay people on a plane while they're flying. And over the loudspeaker in the plane, you can hear the stewardess saying, "Stop live Instagramming on the plane. We're taking off." And he's still on there. He's so mad that he's on the phone, and he had just been waived by the Bulls at this point, and he doesn't let it go. He's continuing to go on and on about anti-gay this, anti-gay that, and God is good, and religiosity, and all this kind of stuff. It's crazy. And you can literally hear the lady in the background saying, "Get off your phone. We're taking off." The dude's cracking up. The dude has something wrong up here. Now there's nephews on Reddit asking, should the Raptors pick up Jaden Ivey? No. This is one thing people got to remember. Markelle Fultz, very talented player. Jaden Ivey, very talented player. Heralded. Did amazing things when they're younger. Dribbling, doing all kinds of stuff in college and high school. Everybody loves them because they're so talented. That don't mean reality doesn't mean that they're going to be great in the NBA. Once again, that's why I don't overhype draft picks or people that come in. They say, oh, they're going to instantly be great just because they told us they're going to be great or they look great in high school and college. No, there's so many factors that can fuck up an NBA player. And, well, losing your marbles is one of them. And Jaden Ivey has lost his marbles. As of right now, he has lost his marbles. He's a toxic asset. And he said it himself in one of the last IGs he did yesterday. I will probably never play in the NBA again. Yeah, because you shot yourself in the foot being a bigot and being an idiot. And, well, this answered a lot of the questions that I had about why the fuck is Jaden Ivey never playing and why is he sitting at the end of the bench? Because he's a moron. That's why. And anybody who wants to try him out in the Raptors, you're a moron too. You're a moron too. That's what I say right there. Yeah. He said some inflammatory stuff. He said some stupid stuff. He said stuff that he could have kept to himself and he didn't have to say publicly, and he probably could have continued his career. But because he put it out there publicly, you just don't do this, man. You just don't do this. Adam Silver's going to be standing up for Israel. He's going to be standing up for gay people too, because in some ways he realizes it's a part of his market, and to be anti-LGBTQ as a progressive sports league is not a good look. And Jaden Ivey don't have a place in the league for it. It could very well be they called him just like they called some of the other players at times when they posted things that weren't right. Draymond Green brought this up one time. He posted something and he actually got a call directly from Adam Silver. I think it was him. It was somebody. No, it was Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant posted something and Adam Silver called him directly and said, take that down right now because it's making the league look bad. I'll bet you Jaden Ivey got those calls. Take that down right now. Do you care about your NBA career? Man, I'm for God, and God's saying that y'all aren't righteous for doing Pride Month. So no, I'm not saying nothing. I'm standing with God. Well, you're fired. You represent the NBA. You cannot be anti-LGBTQ publicly. You can be it in your own private life, be a closet anti-gay person, but you can't be publicly. Adam Silver will kick your ass out. He doesn't care how good you are. If you're very, very good, like Kyrie, you might have to go to re-education training and learn something that way. That may be what they do. But nah, Jaden Ivey, you're not doing it good enough. You can be just cast off. Bye, Felicia. Yeah, that's just how it goes. Uji Bougie saying, hope everyone is doing well as a group and individually in the chat as well. Nice sunny morning after that crazy storm late last night here in West Gray. Here, it's very gray here. It's not sunny for me, but man, the rain was great last night because it really does speed up the melt. And I'm starting to acquire more of my grass instead of snow here in the forest. And my pond is going right now. I love it. It's been covered up with ice and snow, and it's actually sitting out there right now. And man, seeing a wolf in my yard this morning, that's different. I have not seen a wolf in my yard until just now today. And I think that's cool. It was a lone wolf. He was by himself. No pack of wolves. It was a wolf. I'm pretty sure that wasn't too big to be a coyote because I thought it was a big husky dog. I was like, oh, there's a husky out there. Oh, wait, that's not a husky. I mean, it could be a husky if we trained it, but it's a wolf. It's a wolf. That's a wild one out there. That's right. Yeah, let's see. Smooth saying this about the LGBTQ community and other NBA players, Steph Curry in particular. Yeah, the thing he said about Steph was that he is not righteous, that he is not really with God. He portrays himself as a man of God and being with God, but he is not with God. Who the fuck determines this shit, Jaden Ivey? Are you the gatekeeper for God? Are you St. Peter? Bro, come on now. People have different religiosity, and I'm sick of all these bigots and religion that only think theirs is the right one, and they look down on everybody that doesn't believe exactly what they believe. There is a religion for all people, and it doesn't have to be the same. And you don't have to follow Islam. You don't have to follow Judaism. You don't have to follow any religion around the world. You can follow your own, but you need to allow for the ability for other people to follow the freedom of religion they want. And that's what I say to Jaden Ivey. Who the fuck are you to say whether Steph Curry is a Christian? Because he may have a different kind of religiosity than you. He may not be up to your standards, but in some ways, you know, if he wants to self-profess himself as a Christian, if he's living a good moral life for the most part, what's wrong with this? Just because he doesn't do the crazy Old Testament shit that you want to do? Come on now, seriously. This messed up. Now, I do have a problem with Steph Curry investing money in drone companies. That may be anti-Christian. If you had formulated an argument like that, Jaden Ivey, that might have gone somewhere with the Raptors freak at least. As far as saying, yeah, Steph Curry is anti-Christian or not a Christian because he's helping to create machines that will destroy humanity. And he's investing money and making money off of something that may actually kill us all someday. And in some ways, I would respect that more, Jaden Ivey, than just judging from yourself about his religiosity. Yeah, it's crazy. Superfan Mo saying, you know, Teresa had a huge role in bringing him aside. It's Tannenbaum. Teresa is not gonna hurt, of course, but you know it's Tannenbaum. Come on now, you know it's Tannenbaum. Those guys are like this. They're buddies. Chris comes saying, what do you think about Ivey's comments? He's ridiculous. He's a fool. He's an idiot. He just threw away millions of dollars and a life in the NBA. And it'll be interesting to see. Is he going to go play on the Seattle team with Jonte Porter now over in Seattle in that goofy league that actually is employing Jonte Porter right now? I don't know. That could very well happen. Or maybe he's going to be overseas now. Maybe that man needs to go to Guangdong Tigers now. Something like that. He's going to be in China. Something like that. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay's saying Cleveland or New York. Which team do we want? I don't know. You want to do a poll? Let's see. Let's do a poll real quick, guys. Who would you rather face in the first round? Who would you rather face in the first round? All right, we'll do a poll. Na, 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 na. All right, y'all. Who would you rather face in the first round? There you go. It's the poll of the day. Let's see what's up. All right. Yeah, let me get back in my place. I lost my place. I'll find it and see how you guys are voting for that. Our fate is in our hands. Ooh, thank you for supporting the channel, Shaq Lindsay. Thank you so much. Naco the Nacho. Good morning to you, Gerald. Jaden Ivey needs help. Yeah, Gerald probably watched some of those Instagram lives like I did yesterday. In some ways, you couldn't look away from them. They were such a train wreck. It's like, dude, it's not just that Adam Silver and the NBA is pleading with you to stop. It's the airline that's pleading you to stop too. And they're doing it for safety for the plane, but they're also in some ways vicariously doing it for safety for yourself. Oh my gosh. Uji Bougie saying amazing to see Masai back in T-Dot for the Temple. He never left T-Dot. He didn't come back. He's been here the whole time. He never left. We all know his love for the city is real. Tannenbaum and him have been closely connected for years. Very, very close. Very, very, very close. And yeah, Masai's house is here. He's been living here the whole time. He'll show up every once in a while. He'll be at TIFF on the red carpet. He'll come on breakfast television every once in a while. No, Masai ain't gone nowhere. You think he wants to go to the States right now? He's not going to the States. Screw that place, ICE and all their bullshit. No, Masai's been very much here. He's been in Africa too, I'll bet, just to visit, maybe do some things with infrastructure there. But I'll bet you he's very rarely crossed the border to the States since departing from the Raptors. Yeah, I'll bet you he's very rarely gone to the States. Seriously. Most saying, I want to face the Cavs in the playoffs. He wants the Cavs. 73% of y'all are saying that right now. Smooth saying, this was always a plan for Masai. He's ingrained in Toronto culture. This is the thing, man. You know, when he was in Denver, that was the learning place, stuff with Carmelo trade and different things he did in the Denver front office. It wasn't as special, but it was still like I'm learning and working through it. But when he got here, it was special. It's like it's like that song George Michael, Careless Whisper. He can't dance again with another NBA franchise. It's just too rich. The culture and the thing he built here in Toronto. There's no way he could ever match the feeling and the thing that he built here in Toronto. There's no way he could do it on any other team in the league. Most of the established teams already have their culture, and he can't be the culture setter for them, like Red Auerbach for the Celtics or Pat Riley or Jerry Buss for the Lakers. He can't be the culture setter for those teams like Eric Spoelstra is for Miami or Popovich for San Antonio. He's the culture setter for Toronto. And anywhere he would go, unless it's an expansion team, he would not get this opportunity. And would it be the same? I mean, it's the first major team outside of Canada to be successful. I feel bad for Vancouver Grizzlies, but it's Canada's team, and in some ways, it's special for that and unique and one of one for that. So it's not like he could go anywhere and find as satisfying an experience as what he did with the Raptors and any of the franchises in the league. Even if he went to Seattle and started running the Seattle Supersonics or something like that, it wouldn't be anything like what he did here. So it's like, why would you try and chase that? Why would you try and do the job you've already mastered again somewhere else? What are you going to get from that? You might get more disappointment. It'd be like, oh, I'm trying to do this, Ramatu, but it's not the same as in Canada. It's just not. It's so frustrating. I don't know why I took this job. In some ways, it's just stupid. Why am I working for the Wizards? Shit like that. What the fuck is he going to do down there and feel any satisfaction from it? That's what I'm saying. He has to go into new horizons. He has to go into new roles, and he has to go into new challenges. And, there's so many different ways he can elevate what he does. I've always thought he's an excellent person to be in politics, that he could do that. Humanitarian work is top notch. The things he does with Giants of Africa and Basketball Without Borders, and also with the Basketball Africa League and the infrastructure they're building in the countries over there. There's just so much more that he can do beyond sports and just being a guy who runs an NBA team. That this is symbolizes it. He's on the ownership level now, and he could be like, Charles Barkley thinks he should replace Adam Silver. He should be the commissioner of the NBA. Masai Ujiri. Who knows if he hangs around and doesn't mess things up in a certain way. I don't think he will, because he's just a class act and he's very smooth. He could be the next commissioner of the NBA somehow, some way. Seriously, he could be. And that wouldn't be a bad thing, in my opinion, at all. No, that wouldn't be a bad thing at all. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. I am on Uji Bougie. I feel like Jaden should have known in the cancel culture world, unfortunately. If you hold strong opinions against any group that is marginalized, then it is best to keep said opinions as personal. Sad. Well, if you're a bigot, you should be called out as a bigot. He's a bigot. That's what it is. It's not if you hold these against cancel culture. That's not cancel culture. It's called, we're the NBA. We're a corporation, and you're an employee of the NBA, and you represent us. And if we have company guidelines that you're supposed to follow as an employee and you don't, well, we'll dismiss you. It's just a lot more high profile in public, and there's a lot more money at stake. If if you're a certain person in a certain, they don't care maybe about every Walmart employee. If there's somebody out there being racist and bigoted, but if they're prominent and they're getting attention, Walmart might fire them because they'll be like, yo, your values don't align with our values. I'm sorry, you got to go. It's stuff like that. If they're going to come at Kyrie for a book review on something about like Black Moors and the original Hebrews and stuff like that, they're going to come at Jaden Ivey for, especially if he can't shut up and he can't stay off there and he's continuing to do it, So yeah, I don't know. I don't have any problem with him getting canceled for this because, anti-gay people are fucked up and they're wrong and they need to stop being like this. The problem with it is that, like, they're trying to control everybody and say, no, you can't be this, you can't be that. It's just not right. It's just not right. Homosexuality has been a part of society, and it has been around since the beginning of time. It's a natural thing. People that say it's not a natural thing, they're wrong. It's a very natural thing. In fact, it's natural in biology in other species. There's homosexuality in all kinds of animals. It's not unnatural. Everybody who says that it's unnatural, like Jaden Ivey's saying, he's wrong. He's wrong. And it's not that I'm saying people should go out and be gay or want to be gay. It's like I have no problem with it. It's not my life. I'm not trying to control other people's lives. If somebody finds happiness with somebody of the same sex, they should be allowed to pursue that happiness that way, and nobody should interfere. It's just that there's a long history of hate, a long history of violence, a long history of very awful behavior towards people that are gay. That this behavior that Jaden Ivey is in is just the milder stage of it. But you go further into it, where does it go? Where does it go? That's what I'm saying. There should be no tolerance for this kind of stuff. There should be no tolerance for racism. There should be no tolerance for uh, uh, sexism. There should be no tolerance for bigotry towards gay people. And, if you're a big, huge company that has a lot of fans that identify as being gay, this is bad for business. And in some ways, that's the biggest thing that controls all this is God money and Adam Silver worrying about the bottom line. And yeah, you can't have this. You can't have this. Smooth saying this, the comments were said during a Bulls team flight. He was very loud about it. A reporter was live tweeting while it was happening. Yeah, that's stupid too. Like, man, either way, he's an idiot. He's a knucklehead. And some of my question marks about why he wasn't playing or why he wasn't growing as an NBA player have been answered. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Uji Buji saying enough said about opinion versus reality. This world is happy to attack versus work to understand issues and differences. This is because low level negative energy is easy to manifest and maintain, sadly. A lot of it's ignorance. Some of it's just not being educated well. Some of it's living in fear, honestly. A lot of anti-gay people are living in fear because they're afraid of gay people trying to come on to them or people coming into the bathroom or, there's a lot of stupid shit that's fear-mongering from the right, the conservative side of politics saying you should be afraid of gay people because gay people will try and make your children gay. Or if they just exist, oh my gosh, your child might think they should become gay themselves. It's all malarkey, and most of that kind of stuff is fear based, and it's just very shallow, weak people that are scared. Jaden Ivey's scared. God forbid, Jaden Ivey, you might be gay. Oh my gosh, I might be gay inside. I hate these feelings, so I hate gay people. That's a lot of what this is. It's a lot of what it is. The action for hate comes from fear, and that's the thing. That's why if you live no fear, you live love. And you don't get this kind of stuff in your head because in some ways, first of all, you're not a psychopath trying to control everybody's lives and tell them who they can and can't be. That's the big problem here. We're for freedom, right? I'm for freedom. I want people to be free to be who they are. And I don't want people that are hating, coming around and trying to be violent and do awful things to people just because they're being truly who they are. That's the big problem here. Let's see. Fiercely saying, exactly. I believe in freedom of speech, but he was media trained and should have been careful in his statements. You cannot publicly go against any entity that pays you and expect no retaliation. Yeah, it's not even that. Even the way you're speaking it is not exactly this. Freedom of speech. I'm going to tell you all the truth. There's no freedom of speech. You're going to say stuff, you're going to get in trouble for it, especially if the world that the techno oligarchs want a fucking world. They want to police everything we say. And if we say something that goes against what they want, they will come and throw us in jail. So don't get used to the idea of freedom of speech. That's not a true thing. There may be a charter here in Canada, and in some ways, hopefully that will stand up. unlike the US Constitution, which is being trampled all over and it doesn't actually have any bearing on anything at this point because it's been ripped up and thrown out the door by Trump America. We want to keep our freedom of speech here. And there are limits to your freedom of speech here in Canada. You cannot do certain things and say things. But, if you do say things and you have freedom of speech, that doesn't mean you're not free of consequences. And consequences can mean losing your job. And that's part of it. That's part of it right there. Let's see. Fiercely saying that is the issue. He went on a rant after being waived, and it may be detrimental to his career. But if he was mentally and financially prepared for the reaction, kudos to him. Yeah, I'm not talking anything about him being a protagonist or a hero. He's not a fucking hero, Fiercey. He's a bigot, and he deserves getting fired, and he doesn't deserve an NBA career. An NBA career is a privilege. You may work very hard to get to it, but in some ways, playing in that league, if you have the right mindset, you look at it as a privilege because so many have wanted it so bad and didn't get it. So you want that lifestyle, you want that celebrity, you want that high profile, you want that money. Yeah, you got to be playing by the rules of the NBA. If you don't, there's so many that got on the wayside, just like Jay and Ivy, because of other crazy things too. So it's like, they'll blacklist people for the craziest shit. And it depends on how good you are. You better be really good if you want to get away with saying stuff and make a lot of money for the NBA, because then they'll try and fix things with you and try and help you stay. But if you're not really good, it's hasta la vista. They'll tell you to get the hell out of here. That's right. Fiercely saying, we tell the kids to express themselves and trust their values, but at times it may not be in their favor, a difficult situation. Well, first of all, if you're teaching hateful values like Jaden Ivey has, he's not a man of Christ. He's absolutely not. And people can argue with me on this. No, you have to love all of God's people if you really are Christian. And that means immigrants. That means trans people. That means gay people. And if you're anti-gay, you're not a good Christian. That's just the truth. You are not. You're on the wrong side. You're on the delusional side. You're on the side that is not following one of the main tenements of what Jesus Christ wants, and that is to love all and to look out for all. See, that's the thing. Some Christians like to pick and choose which parts of Christianity they actually want to follow, the ones that are conducive and helpful to them, and the ones that don't really go and jive with what they want. Sometimes it's hate. They will ignore those. And that's the thing. It's like if you're teaching your kids values like you should hate gay people, well, you're not a good parent. Let's just put it that way. And I'm just mystified. Like I said, his mother played in the WNBA. She obviously had a lot of lesbian teammates. How the hell did this get this blind spot for him like this if he grew up around women's basketball? In some ways, that makes me worried that it's like, look, it's like that's how bad anti-gay people are. They can be among them and be around them, smile to their face, and then they come and stab them in the back, behind their back, like that. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. This don't make any sense to me because Jaden Ivey, as a child, was at WNBA practices, practicing with women that were probably gay. And he probably talked to them and maybe he looked up to them. Where did it get to this point? What pastor or minister or religious leader that he follows taught him to hate gay people so much? That's where the problems are, right there. It's a weapon used to divide sometimes with hate. And if you're listening to your sermons and you're hearing a lot of hate come from the leader of your church, you're in the wrong church. These aren't true Christians because God is not hate. God is love. And that's the thing. I don't have to go to church to understand the parts of Christianity that are supposed to be the important parts and which parts are not as important. The fear of God is not as necessarily as important as the love of God, is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And the love that God gives us and we give to God, it's love. And all the hate stuff, that's not true with what's supposed to be in Christianity. Trust me. You're going to be all Leviticus and Old Testament. Yeah, that's nah, that stuff. Those are fairy tales. Those are like fables. Those are like tall tales. Let's just put it that way. All right, let's see. Raptors champs saying, good morning, Raptor streaks and champs. Another win day. Yeah, let's get a double win today. Double win. Let's get that double win. Y'all, let's do the straight goods on Canadian goods. This week, I went and picked these out of my yard. I dug them up a little bit. These are sun chokes. Do y'all know about sun chokes? They're like, some people call them Jerusalem artichoke. I planted some of these last year, and for some reason, my neighbor was digging them up in her patch next door, and she's like, "I'm getting my sunchokes out." So I'm like, "You know what? I'm gonna dig some sunchokes out too." This is such a good food staple. This stuff is so hardy, and it'll grow anywhere, and it proliferates like crazy. And I want to tell y'all about sunchokes because it's not the most glamorous thing to eat. But I'm telling you right now, if the shit hits the fan and you want to have a food insurance in your yard, start a patch of these somewhere in your yard because they're not far off from potatoes. You can prepare them and eat them and get very good dietary stuff from them. And I know I don't want to be too alarmist or scary, but if food prices go up and the system starts collapsing, you might want some of these bad boys in your yard. Let's just put it that way. They're very simple. They may not be the most flashy, fun thing to eat, but these are very good staple crop that proliferates very quickly, and you could get a very good high nutritional value from these if you're in a survival mode. So maybe this time to go ahead and plant some sunchokes in your yard, have a sunchoke patch in your yard. I'm just telling you, this is a survival tip. This isn't a straight good on Canadian goods. You want a Canadian good, make it your own and go plant some sunchokes in your yard. Yeah, I'm gonna put these in the stove later, and I'm gonna cook them up, and I'm gonna eat them. Yeah, and apparently, if you don't cook them enough, they'll give you some gas. They might make you fart a bit, but they have literally good health things to them too. There's like uh, probiotics in them for your gut health too. So yeah, sunchoke. That's your straight good on the day. It's not even a good. It's a crop. Go put it in your yard and let it grow. You don't even have to do nothing to it. That's the great thing. Just throw it, bury some in a patch in your yard, watch the stalks come up and just watch it grow and keep going for years after that. And just more and more food in your ground. It's not glamorous. It may not be what you thought you would be eating, but get over yourself. The world may be in big trouble soon, and you might have to do things like that just to survive. Trust me. Trust me. It's better to have some plans ahead of time just in case. And it doesn't hurt to just put a couple of these in the ground to start. And who knows, over the years, you could have a bunch of these, and it could very well pay off for you at some point. Just trust me on that. Yeah. Yeah. UC's here. Good morning to Raptor Freak. UC. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Pistons may as well be tired tonight, but they're going to be locked in. So the Raptors need to be just as locked in to compete. Yeah, we would say that it's an advantage that they played the Thunder, the champs, last night, and they lost to them in overtime in Oklahoma City and had to travel back. It is probably going to be an advantage. And we'll see the signs of it in the second half, where they may look fatigued because they played overtime last night and they traveled too. Who knows what time the plane arrived from Oklahoma City to Detroit, bringing the Pistons home. It could have been 3 or 4 in the morning. So, I think that there's truth to UC saying this. Let's not take them lightly. Understand that they're probably locked in because they just played a very high level team last night and just barely lost. And they may be angry about losing, and they may have an edge to them. It's very similar to when we played the Suns recently and they had lost the Bucks the night before. They were pissed off about losing. And in some ways, that could make the Pistons dangerous tonight. So hopefully they're more tired than pissed off. And we'll see it in the second half when their team play falls off. That's what I'm hoping will happen. UC, always good to see you in the chat. Uji Bougie saying nothing but love and respect to all. Whether their beliefs and mine align is not for me to worry about or to control. See, that's the thing. I would say that too. I want a blank slate for everybody. As long as your beliefs do not really hurt people, that's then there's no problem. If you have beliefs that may be hurtful to people, keep them to yourself. In some ways, do you need to advertise your beliefs against somebody else? No. If you really have to have that way and you can't think any otherwise, in some ways, you have to. It's not that you have to accept everybody, but in some ways you should. You should accept everybody because that's the way the world should be. But if you don't have it and somebody doesn't have it in their heart to do it, then just keep it to yourself. It doesn't. That's what I would say to people. If there's bigotry and hate in your heart, keep it to yourself and keep it hidden. In some ways, I mean, I guess that's maybe not the right way because you want people to be out front and be authentically themselves to your face and not be two-faced? I don't know. Either way, I mean, I'm for freedom, and my freedom includes the freedom to believe what you want. But if you believe in something that's hateful, I'm not going to be agreeing with you. And in some ways, maybe you shouldn't be like promoting yourself on a platform, is what I would say. You know, let's see. All we can do is love and respect all and understand the world is quick to hate. Yeah, yeah, because people are scared. People get into tough situations like where the resources are weird. They feel like they're all fighting for the same things. Abundance is real in this world. It's just that it's been uh, taken away in some ways in the perception of people's minds to have a scarcity, so that capitalists can run the system that they do, so that everybody can be fighting each other for things instead of us working together and all of us getting it, because that's what we could do. The world is abundance. We could do be abundance mindset, but people in charge want a scarcity mindset so that it keeps us at odds. And in some ways, there is that other reality where everybody's fine and everybody's taken care of, and nobody has to go through this kind of stuff. But the very greedy at the top have the system set up a certain way so that it isn't that way. It isn't that way. Yeah, this is heavy stuff. We're getting into philosophy and religion today. That's for sure. Kareem saying this: why people insist on getting in front of a camera to speak their thoughts would never make sense to me. I know. I don't know why people do this. It's so stupid. Why be so out and vulnerable and talking about yourself every day at 9:30 a.m. and talking all the time, putting all your thoughts out there? It's very dangerous. It is. It is. In some ways, I'm very brave for doing it myself. And Jaden Ivey, maybe a little too brave and stupid in your way, in some ways. And maybe I will be at some point too. I mean, I can't go back and change anything I've said. In some ways, I could erase my whole entire catalog, but it's somewhere. I mean, if they want to come and get people that hate Trump, they're going to come get me at some point if they get their chance. But hopefully, we'll destroy the Trump regime before any of that gets established. But yeah, the receipts are there for a lot of people, and I'm one of them. But in some ways, am I going to cower in fear and change who I am just because of that? No, fuck that. If we get to a world where freedom of speech and not being able to speak out against leaders is a world like that, well, I want to go ahead and go through what happens, because I want to be an example of fighting against it and being brave either way. Because listen, I'm not going to let totalitarian, authoritarian, oligarchical dictators tell me to be scared of what I'm saying. I grew up in the 80s, and we've talked and been able to be a certain freedom for a long time in this world. And if it's going to change all of a sudden because people want to grab money and power and be in charge of everybody and tell them what they can't say, well, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and we'll just have to go through the process, and hopefully we'll be able to fight it and beat it from within, because it's not right. We don't need 1984. We don't need word speak. We do not need a list of words that we're not allowed to say just because Mein Fuhrer told us we can't. You know, he's already telling the press what they can and cannot report on Iran. And well, that's just a part of, what could be possible coming forward. They don't want to talk about ICE. They don't want to talk. Don't say this about this. You can't say this about him. You can't say that he's a bad person or this. Nicki Minaj is threatening all of us. Everybody who said bad things about Trump, you're going to get it someday. Man, not with them 8 million people in the street and most people seeing he's a joke and most people being mad at him and very upset with the prices and everything. Yeah, things are going to change, and hopefully the right things will happen, and he'll be kicked out, and everything will be getting better in a couple years. Hopefully. I hope so. We'll have to see. Yeah. If you don't like someone, either tell it to their face or shut the fuck up. Oh man, yeah. I mean, Paul Pierce drunk in his little party. He lost the ESPN job. There's a lot of dumb examples of just stupid live IGs. Seriously. UC saying, with Masai being a part of the tempo now, I want to go to a game now, especially against Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever. Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be fun, man. They have tickets on sale for the preseason game already. I feel like they may be sold out already. I'd like to go to that game. I kind of want to go to that Connecticut Sun game at the end of next month. Yeah, Masai will definitely bring a little pull if he's working for the free agency pool conversations and draft room as a mine. 100% agree, Lex. He's just a luster. He's an entity of respect. And, who knows? Like, it could be something like Sandy's getting the team ready for the game, and Masai comes in the locker room all of a sudden, and he says, "Hey, everybody! I just wanted to tell you, good luck tonight, and I believe in all of you, and you're going to have a very good season." He could come in and do like some sort of pep talk, and everybody's like, "Whoa, that's Masai! That's Masai! He brought the championship to Toronto for the Raptors." And it's like, yeah, I mean, that could be very inspiring. We know Masai Ujiri is a very inspiring speaker. And what kind of impact could he have in that? Just as an owner, kind of lurking around and hanging around, he could be coming in there and inspiring the women who play for the Tempo. He could be, yeah, we could see that. Yeah, G saying Masai, Larry, and Serena Williams as owners are true powerhouses. Oh my gosh, that is for sure. Okay, Mo, I'm sure you hit something by accident because you deleted Stargate's comment here, but let me see. He's saying, is Keith Pelly even an owner? Masai came back to Toronto in a higher position than the person who previously let him go. That's a good point. I like that. Stargate's clowning on Keith Pelly. You're going to get a dunk. Why not? I mean, in some ways, it's like it's not about competition because in some ways, there's no competition between the human being that Masai Ujiri is and the one that Keith Pelly is. There's no competition there. So it's not like, you got 39 on the dunk charts, Stargate. Yeah, they're not in competition. They're in different leagues. Trust me. They're in different leagues. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, you wrote it like 3 times. I see. Okay. Shaq Lindsay saying Jaden Ivey is going to get blackballed and probably never be able to play in the NBA again. Yep. That's already true. I mean, he said it himself. He realizes that already, that he's probably not going to get picked up by an NBA team. And that may not even be officially like a released or anything like that. It just may be on the down low. It could be that Adam Silver declares to every of the 30 teams that says, you guys are not allowed to pick up Ivy at this point. He's dead to us. He's gone. He's gone. I'm sorry. He's dead to us. You can't have him. I'm sorry, Charlotte. You can't go get Jaden Ivey now. I'm sorry. Yeah. He could do that. He could do that. He has that right to say that. He may not publicly announce it like Jonte Porter, but he could say and give a memo to all the owners and all the franchises, say, yeah, he's off the list. He's not eligible to play in our league. And we won't publicly disclose this also. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Smooth saying, I don't agree with what Ivy said personally. He knows better. It's just that, like, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. I mean, I can talk about this more. My personal beliefs on it is that we're all on a spectrum of sexuality. That, part of it is that all of us have homosexuality in us to a percentage. It's just different percentages. Some of it has to do with different releases of hormones in our bodies. Some of it has to do with different things that like built in our bodies, even as young, because there's hermaphrodites. There's people that have both sex organs. There's people that have, a penis, but they have more estrogen in their body, like scientifically. And it's not with injections or anything like that. They just naturally occur like this. And they're not freaks of nature. They're not like abnormal. This is normal stuff that's occurred in human race since the beginning of time. And in some ways, these people don't fit into categories very easily. And they have nothing to do with orientation. This is how they are physically, genetically, and biology. How do you explain a hermaphrodite who has both sex organs? How do you explain that? You can't in the whole anti-gay thing, because that's a natural occurring thing in society. But you can't explain that. Oh, that's just a freak, man. That's just a freak. So I truly believe, and I would even include myself, there's probably a percentage of me that's homosexual. I'm not as in touch in that side of me. It may be a small percentage, and I'm more heterosexual. But I think that if everybody's really honest with themselves, that they can understand that this is something that is a spectrum. It's not cut and dry binary. I'm either gay or not gay. That's why there's bisexuality, because there's a lot more people that are truthful with themselves and say, I'm kind of attracted to both sexes. But I'd say I'm probably leaning more towards being straight, but I do kind of dabble on the other side. That's the thing. And part of the hate against gay people is the internal recognition of that spectrum that I just talked about. And they hate that because they can't be gay because they've been taught by a religious leader that that's wrong. And then you get people that get all pent up because they may actually be very homosexual and naturally, but they suppress it because they're indoctrinated into a religion that tells them to hate that. And then they feel it inside, and there's a crazy conflict with them. And in some ways, that manifests into even more anti gay behavior because they're feeding the hate of themselves and their true self through that. So that's part of it. And this may be controversial. I think I'm just kicking it real on this, as a very confident in my sexuality and who I am and what I do. I can talk about this in a way where it's like I'm not threatened by saying, yeah, there may be like 5% of me that's homosexual. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if we're all really honest with ourselves, you can see it in yourself also. But it's not something to be like, oh, I hate myself because maybe there was a little bit of this in me. It's just natural. I think that everybody has certain percentages, every single individual, if they're really being honest with themselves. And the problem with that for the religious leaders and the anti-gay people is like, well, that means in some ways we're more like each other than everybody is more like each other. And they don't want that. Oh my gosh, I may be more like a gay man because there is a certain percentage of me that may be naturally homosexual besides the heterosexual part of me. So that's my personal beliefs. Nobody has to agree with what I just said. I'm not saying this to make y'all have to believe me or get behind me. I'm just saying my observations. Unlike a leader of a flock of a shepherd of a flock, like in a church on a Sunday, I'm not forcing you to believe what I believe. If you don't want to believe what I believe, that's fine. I'll give you that right. But in those areas, are they allowing you that right? Probably not. They're probably telling you you're going to hell if you don't believe exactly what I believe. So I don't know. This is heavy stuff, man. We get into some heavy stuff sometimes here, man. We really do. Stargate saying, is Keith Pelly okay? He wrote it like 4 times. This is amazing. He really wanted to get that point hammered home. Oh yeah, let's see. Super fan Mo saying TMU. She coached under 23 and coached Global Jam. That's Carly. Carly, the new coach for Tempo. Carly Clark. Yeah, Cool Cat saying, "Holy smokes! Just saw Masai as a principal owner of the Toronto Tempo." That's right, Cool Cat. Yeah, let's go. Winning. That's right. The development will not be linear. We are going for it with the Tempo. That's right. Let's go. Let's go. And Cool Cat, so happy to have you in the chat this morning. I hope you're feeling very good this morning on a Tuesday. A Raptors double day with the date with the Pistons. Got 2 games tonight with the Pistons at 2 different places, 2 different locales. That's right. Let's get them. Let's get them, coach. Smith saying he'll join the right wing nut jobs and do his thing. I mean, in some ways, I don't know. I mean, Jonathan Isaac's like this, definitely. I don't know what Jaden Ivey's going to do after this. I don't care. In some ways, he might just disappear and we'll never hear from him again. I don't know where he's going to go. He may not join the right wing nut jobs. He may be just in a very religious black church. It doesn't even have to be right wing. It can be just a very, very religious church that has these beliefs and that he's holding to. You know what I'm saying? I hope he doesn't go join them. We don't need people joining that side. That side is the criminal side. That side is the one that's dragging us all into dictatorship. And more people need to realize conservative Republican politics are what got us to this Trump mess right now. And everybody equal siding is, oh, the liberals and the Democrats are just as bad. No, Kamala Harris, her presidency would look totally different than what's going on right now. You guys know that's true. So it's like, come on. It's like in some ways we can very clearly see the evil that's in this world at this point is from far right politics. That right-wing politics need to be denounced and voted against in the voting booth everywhere, whether it's the PC government in Canada, whether it's the Republicans in the United States, whether it's in Australia, whether it's in Europe, wherever it is. There's elections and there's a fascist right-wing candidate, and then there's a person that's just other party. It could be any other party is the better candidate. Because it's usually the fascist is the one who wants to control us, wants to control women, wants to control minorities, and wants to do a whole bunch of bad shit. Because they're in some ways they have an organized idea game plan, the conservatives, and one of them is to get rid of regulations on environment and allow more factories and smoke and support the fossil fuel industry and support war, support all kinds of really bad stuff that is not in the best interests of the human race. So it's very evident that right wing politics are the danger to the world right now. They're the biggest danger to the world, and the voters need to vote accordingly. Let's say if you were a classic conservative from before, your party has left you for Hitler, and you need to go and be more like Bob Dole and John McCain and people like that that were good conservative leaders. That actually, I mean, George W. Bush is looking pretty good right now, and that's insane. That's insane to me. That party's gone. That party has turned into Heil Hitler kind of crap. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, if you considered yourself a right wing conservative, if you're going with them right now, you're turning into a fascist. You're turning into a Nazi, and you need to come and join us. And it's fine. We can look past the past of what you did with your voting and just come to the right side now, because we need everybody in this fight at this point. And I'm not going to get mad at you for your past. It's just say, in some ways, maybe some of your votes did lead to this crap and this mess we're in right now, is what I would say. Shaq Lindsay saying, we've seen this before. In fact, maybe not similar in terms of their opinion, but still same premises on freedom of speech. Charles Barkley could get canceled. Charles walks a line. He was very open this week about ICE on the broadcast. And man, that's just classic Charles. And he's saying shit that people need to be saying about what's going on with the immigration, ICE people and what they're doing and stuff like that. Charles is right on point. And he's a brave person to do that. And in some ways, I appreciate leaders like Charles Barkley who are willing to speak out against evil and wrongs in that platform, because most of those TV jerkies are not as brave as Charles to do that. And commend him. People have said dumb things. Charles made dumb mistakes in his playing career. He spit on a little girl sitting at front row at an NBA game once. He didn't mean to. He's trying to spit at a guy sitting behind her, but he spit all over her face. And he had to apologize for that. He got in big trouble for that one. He also threw a guy through a plate glass window in a bar in Milwaukee once. He's done a lot of stuff that was kind of, and he's had controversial statements that weren't exactly right, but he learned from them. That's the thing. Charles is a very smart guy, and he's not stubborn in his ways. And he maybe at one time had anti-gay stance, maybe when he was younger at Auburn or something like that. But he learned over life, and he opened his heart, and his eyes came up to it, and he changed. Tim Hardaway said some stupid shit on a radio show in Miami once and got a huge backlash. And what did he do? He went and took classes on how to be more tolerant and understanding of issues, and he became a better person for it. I mean, that's what he says he did. Who knows if he actually changed inside, but that's the kind of thing right there, man. That's it. Superfan saying this, did Kimberly see the news coming in reference to Messiah? I asked her, and she said she may have. Yeah, well, I mean, this happened. You were with her a couple nights ago. The news came out this morning. You asked her about Messiah the other night. That doesn't totally make sense. But I know that she said, I remember, and this was sad, at your birthday last year, we were talking about, man, I can't wait for this year. And it was right before they let go of Messiah. And she kind of seemed sad when we asked her, like, what's coming up next? Because she probably knew that Messiah was about to be let go by MLSE. That's sad. But yeah, I'm sure she knows all about Messiah's moves a couple steps ahead, being somebody in his office. For sure. She's going to know what's going on. Shaq Lindsay saying, while Stephen A. can blather his mouth on the radio and TV. See, I mean, there's different kinds of outspokenness. Some of it is worthwhile. Some of it is just like Charles. And then some of it is just kind of nonsense and toxic. And Stephen A. Smith, he can be good sometimes like Charles, but often also he can be absolutely talking out of his ass and kind of saying stuff that just is not right. It's everybody has an opinion, and some of our opinions are not worth hearing. Let's just put it that way. Chris comes saying Raptors win by 10 minimum. I can't call the 905 because I'm not sure who's playing. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. The 9:05 game might be close. The last time they played, it was a 1-point victory, just barely. So it could be very close. We'll have to see. I hope that Trace can really dominate. I like your prediction for the Raptors over the Pistons. Win by 10. With Tony Brothers as the crew chief, in some ways having the 10-point lead so there's no ref manipulation isn't totally as important. Although I don't trust Musa Dagger and I don't totally trust John Butler. Those guys could be a little funny. Either way, it's just get the lead, have a good cushion so the refs cannot have any determination. I trust Tony more than the other two guys, but at the same time, I don't know. I think hopefully we'll just get a good, clean called game and the Raptors should win, hopefully. I think they should because of the situation with them playing last night. Let's see. Smooth saying correction, not a team flight, but an Instagram live stream. Yeah, he was on a plane leaving the team when he went crazy on the plane yesterday. And it was like posted on Reddit almost immediately. Yeah, I was into this saga a little bit yesterday, like studying it all and seeing all the lives he did and listening to him exactly. And he is delusional. He is delusional. And like Nako said, he needs help. He needs help. Somebody needs to talk to him, you know? Nako's saying crazy crash outs on Instagram is not good for the team. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's right. Uji Bougie saying faith is one thing, but religious psychosis is just as real. I pray he finds help and media allows him that space. That's why, indoctrination into religious cults can be a regular church. A religious cult that is not good for you can look like a regular church and everything's the same as like a modern day, this is a regular church kind of thing. There's a lot of kind of denominations and different sects of Christianity that get into weird places in their beliefs and sometimes it's about listening, like I said, to the leader of the flock in their sermons and what they're keying on. What are their main subjects? What do they care about talking to you about? If you're going to church and your reverend or your minister or whoever is speaking a lot about voting and making sure you vote for Trump and stuff like that, you're probably in the wrong church. And that's not a subject that they should be talking about, is politics like that. In some ways, they get a lot of people organized through the churches and to go vote for right wing through that. And in some ways, that's a red flag right there. That's a red flag. That shouldn't be mixed up with church, in my opinion, because in some ways you should be a denomination that accepts people of all walks of life. And if you're got people that are not going to vote for Trump and they're left leaning or Democrat, and they come into your church and they hear you up there yelling like that, are they going to keep coming? No. That probably means that you are not for all and you are an exclusionary church that does not accept anybody into the flock. And that's what I'm saying. The real churches that really follow Jesus Christ and Christianity have a diversity in their flock, that there's people of all walks of life and they may have very differing kind of opinions in certain ways, but they're united in their love of Jesus and in their Christianity. And that to me is pure true Christianity right there, is where all the differences in the world will not matter if there's that one similar thing in there. That's their belief in Jesus Christ and the glory of God and being devout and worshiping him. But they can be different politically. They can be different sexuality wise. They can be different racially. They can be different in all kinds of different ways, whether it's income, how much money they have, anything. That's what I'm saying. We don't want to build walls. We want to extend the door or extend the hand to everybody and have a seat at the table for everyone. That's true Christianity. And exclusionary Christianity, hateful, bigoted Christianity is not true Christianity. It's just not. It's just not at this point. Yeah. Let's see. Raptors champs saying he's being overly righteous for now. When he levels out, he will regret what he did. He probably just got baptized. People do this a lot when they think they just found God. So you think he's born again all of a sudden. And that's why he's out there tooting his horn and being like this. That's the thing, man. What did Pride Month do to you, man? Why are you so upset about Pride Month? Like, seriously, what did it do to you? In some ways, you gotta I start thinking, I wonders this. I'm like, well, maybe he's going through a battle with his sexuality internally, and he hates himself for maybe having a certain percentage of homosexuality in himself that he's not reckoned with. And it manifests itself into hate towards gay people because he might feel a little gay on the down low. That's very common with people that really hate gay people. You can find like, oh, this guy really hates gay people. Why? And then you like kind of around them and like, wait, this guy kind of seems like he might be homosexual himself. You know, it's really interesting how that works sometimes, right? And not that that's bad or anything. It's just that they haven't reckoned with it and figured it out. They haven't figured it out. Super fan Mo saying, "My bad, Stargate. It's all good." He posted it 4 times. I was gonna catch it. I was gonna catch it at some point, right? Shaq Lindsay saying, "I had to retract some of my statements because it seems to me that Ivy was using God as a scapegoat for his misfortune." Yes. This is another big thing about why this is so bad is because, there's a narcissist in the White House right now, a malignant narcissist. And if you follow him and you believe he's a role model, well, you're going to be blind to your own ego and how you move in a way that may be selfish. He only cares about himself. He cares about getting cut from his team. If he cares about his team more like Scotty Barnes, he would be helping his team win and he'd still be on the team. But no, he cares about himself more than anybody else. Obviously, that's an issue with Jaden Ivey because he's lashing out at the people that hurt him. In some ways, he's like a little child. He's immature. And somebody hurt him. You got waived. Okay, I'm lashing out at the NBA for their Pride Month and all this other stuff. Yeah. Emmanuel Quickly, you're going to talk about him here, right here. Emmanuel Quickly, he has a very devout religiosity, but you could probably ask him about how he feels about gay people. And he would probably tell you, I love all people of Jesus Christ. And that, I don't care if they're gay or not. Those people aren't hurting me. And I have a tolerance because that's what Jesus taught me. Not what Jaden Ivey learned, though. Not what Jaden Ivey learned. That's right. Fiercey's got the wolf. That's right. The wolf was out there. I don't know why, but I want to go find the wolf. That's not smart, Lex. You shouldn't try and track the wolf. Maybe I should try and track the wolf. It was heading that way. It's heading that way. It's interesting. Clay Allen, good morning, Clay, and thank you for the subscription to the channel. He's saying maybe we should sign Jaden Ivey. We desperately need a guard with Quickly out. No, we don't. We don't need a guard. We have Scotty Barnes. We have Markelle Fultz. Yeah, Markelle Fultz is a better player than Jaden Ivey at this point because, well, Jaden Ivey is an idiot. And, well, he's going to be blackballed from the league at this point. So, yeah, Clay, yeah, I actually said this early in the stream. You may not have heard it. It's not smart. Nobody needs Jaden Ivey right now. Trust me. He's not going to be allowed to be on a team. Adam Silver is going to blackball him out of the league. And his career's done. So, yeah, that's not happening. Low budget gamer. Welcome. Thank you for the subscription. I see you have the Bad Boys Pistons old school logo. I love that. That was my team back then, man. I was all about the microwave and Buddha and Worm and Spider and Zeke and Joe D and Rick Mahorn and Mark Aguirre and Bill Lambier. Yeah, I was all about your team in around 1988, 89, 90, 91. Yeah, that was my favorite NBA team. Did you know that? Pistons were my favorite team. I was a big Isaiah Thomas fan. And when he became the president of the Raptors, I was overjoyed. I love Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman's a legend. He's a crazy, messed up dude, just like Jaden Ivey, but I still love him, even though he's a weirdo and he likes Trump. But, he's the one guy I give a pass just because, he's damaged his brain so bad from drinking so much alcohol and doing so many drugs and things like that. Dennis Rodman ain't in his right mind. Let's just put it that way. But, yeah, I love the Pistons. I love the Pistons in the 80s when they were beating the Lakers and the Trailblazers. Getting championships, that squad. But then the Magic came. I became a Magic fan because I was in Florida. And then the Raptors came. And then it's all over then. I've been a Raptors fan for 30 years since. So, yeah. You think Pistons by 10 tonight? Man, it's going to be a tough game for you guys. Coming off the back-to-back against Oklahoma City Thunder in overtime and a travel back from last night. We'll just have to see how it goes. We're playing very well right now. I don't know if you saw the score from Sunday. I don't know if you saw the score from Sunday, low budget gamer, but respect to the best team to win. That's what I say. I said that the last time we played y'all on that Sunday, and I went to the game and got loud. Yeah, I said, let the best team win between the Pistons and the Raptors tonight. I'll say it again tonight. Yeah, let the best team win. That's what I'll say right there. Yeah, G's saying this. Jaden said he was a corn addict. Oh, a corn addict? Oh, you mean like with another letter in front of it? A porn addict. Oh, okay. He was a drinker, a materialistic, and drove into faith. This is just my opinion in that. I don't think he has realized the balance yet and that Christ protects the marginalized. That's interesting. That's interesting. So he was a really bad boy, and he found God, and he put down the porn and the drinking and stuff like that. That's interesting. That's interesting. Well, maybe he's got to find the balance. He swung all the way over that way, and well, he's done damage now to his livelihood. And well, it is what it is. It is what it is. That's interesting. Interesting information, G. I'm going to go ahead and give you a dunk. You're going to get a dunk for adding a little bit more of the dimensions to the Jaden Ivey saga. So I guess Pistons fans would know more about Jaden Ivey than we do, and maybe they would be able to fill in some of the blanks on what happened here too, like why he spun his wheels with y'all and didn't really get any prominent role on your team like Cade Cunningham and those other guys. 27 dunks for G for information. Baseball for Life, 520. Good morning. Thanks for the subscription. He's saying, when will IQ be back? I don't know. I feel like right now, all right, Darko said officially last week he will be back before the end of the season. We are going to be using him. They said that the plantar fasciitis usually takes 2 to 4 weeks to heal correctly, but I don't think we can afford to have him out for 4 weeks. So maybe they'll have him out for 2 weeks, and then they'll ramp him up in the last 4 games of the season to help us get ready for the playoffs. I feel like in some ways the injury to Ingram and Quickly right now are excuses to rest them at the end of the season to have them a little bit better and fresh for the playoffs, and that they're not that hurt. I think that IQ's been playing with the plantar fasciitis for a couple weeks before he actually started missing games. Darko said that, and they've been managing it. He's been playing still. But at this point, they're like, yeah, it's hurting a little bit more. And you know what? What's the hurt in letting him sit a little bit? In some ways, we've had wrinkles like Jacoby getting to start more, Jamal Shed getting his game back in line because IQ's out. And then, of course, the last couple games, seeing Scotty just blow up with his assists and playing more of the distributor role. These have been good things to explore. So I don't think they're in a hurry to get IQ back. But once again, I will tell everybody, don't think that IQ is worthless to our team and disposable just because he's been absent and we're being successful. This kid, he does so much for our team to add to as a weapon, and there's nobody on our team that's exactly like Emmanuel Quickly. So we need him on our team. And I'll remind everybody why we got him in the first place. It was to be able to guard and run after people like Maxey. We needed our own Maxey, and that's why we have Quickly. And, he's an essential kind of player to have on our team. I think that everybody, they think when a guy's missing, like Brandon and IQ have been missing, that, oh, we don't need them anymore. That's very short-sighted, and that is not the right attitude. We want a plethora of talent and different options and weapons to play against other teams to do our best. So, yeah, it's amazing to me how people can stab people in the back so quickly in Raptors Nation towards our players, and it's unnecessary. There's no reason to do that. Yeah. I'm not saying you're doing that, Baseball for Life. I would guess that he'll miss another week, and then maybe he'll be back in around Miami games, around the Miami games. Let's see. Mo Greg P, good morning to you, man. You're free to see whatever you want, but you're not free from the consequences. Yeah, and the thing is, the most dangerous thing right now is we don't want the authority over all of us to be these oligarchs. It's one thing to have a system of democracy built on freedom and freedom of speech, freedom to protest, freedom of the press, all this kind of stuff. This is important for democracy and freedom, and this is being destroyed in the United States right now. There's no freedom of the press. They've consolidated the freedom of the press into a state media run thing where they're going to broadcast the message of the leader, just like in North Korea, just like in Putin in Russia, is what the United States media has become now, and that's dangerous. And the other thing is, like, do you want to live in a society where you can't freely speak what your mind? Like, forget about saying hate speech or yelling fire in a crowded theater or saying stuff like that. They could start coming down on people for speech for just having like views that are slightly left, or they could start coming down on people in speech for speaking up for civil rights and things like that. You know, they're trying to make rules against protesting in the United States. This is all undemocratic, and this is not freedom. This is Nazi dictator shit. So this is the difference. And what is the idea? What he's saying here is like, well, who's going to be making the rules about what you're allowed to say and not say? Do we want 1% billionaires making those rules and deciding everything? They're not leaders. They're just greedy ass people that stole money off the backs of people through huge systems of their companies. And that's not the right people to be determining what the rules of society are. If it's a true democracy, the people vote and they decide what they want for their rules, right? That's the scary thing about right now, is that these guys want that kind of power, the power to be able to say, yeah, well, you said something just now that's going to get you thrown in jail, even though you didn't say anything that would have been bad 10 years ago. It's actually free speech and it's innocuous. It's just something we don't like. So we're going to come and get you. That's the scary thing about right now. And that's the thing that in some ways it's like, I do this show every day. I've been doing it for 5 years almost. I've said a lot of things on my show that who knows, in like 5 years from now, they could be saying, yeah, you don't have that freedom of speech at this point, and you're going to jail just for speaking your mind. So think about what world you want. Think about what world you want for your offspring, for the people that are young around you in your life, young children, teenagers. What are they going to be growing into in the next 10 years? Will we have true freedom? Will we be able to espouse and say the things that we would like to say without having to worry about some bullshit, some big brother watching us, somebody watching our words and saying, yeah, you went out of line? Because the lines that they want to put may not be the free lines that we have in society right now. They may want to constrict us in a box. And that's the thing right there. So you go ahead and say this, Mo Greg. You're free to see whatever you want, but you're not free from the consequences. Yeah, well, who's going to be setting the consequences? We can't have people like Peter Thiel and Larry Ellison setting the consequences. These guys aren't politicians. In some cases, they're not even Americans. So it's like, what the fuck? Kaz is saying, good morning, Lex and Rapid Freak crew. It's going to be very disappointing if the 905 lose because Martin and Lawrence are on the big club. I'm going to be with you on that. As somebody who's rode with the 905 all season, if they don't win tonight, I'm going to be very mad. I'm going to say that right now because they need to win tonight. They've worked so hard this season, and Andrew Jones wants that chip. To me, it doesn't make sense. This is a big one-and-done playoff game. This is a great game for Martin and Lawson to practice that kind of stakes. And in some ways, they've worked so hard all year for this team. Why are they not there when it matters most right now? That's the thing that I just can't fucking wrap my head around. Trevor's trying to explain it to me. I'm like, Trevor, I don't see this the same way. This is stupid. In this instance, this is dumb. Those guys should have been there helping their teammates on the 905 tonight. And hopefully they can win it regardless, is what I'm saying. Hopefully they can win it regardless. Stargate saying, let's get back to basketball, man. Jaden Ivey screwed himself. His career is most likely over. This conversation is propensity to get out of hand. Leave it alone. Let's move on. Yeah, I mean, we've gone really deep on it already. I agree with you. Maybe a little bit too much Jaden Ivey talk today. But it is the topic of the last 24 hours, and it does have to do with our game today, seeing as he was a Piston pretty much most of his career, right? Let's see. Fiercey's got Jacoby and Scotty and RJ and Jamal and Jakob on blast there. I like that. It looks like ginger roots. Yeah, they do kind of look like ginger roots. They're a little bit like ginger roots. They're kind of like potatoes. They're a little bit hardier, but these are very, very nutritious, and they can help keep you alive if we're in a bad place. Let's just put it that way. Sun chokes. That's right. Let's see. Mo saying W stream, W vibes. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Free Cruise, strong forever. Just helping me limit the comments. Let's keep getting better. Yay, Messiah. Yeah, I'm right at 2 hours. So we'll wrap it up soon. Iron Man's here. Good to see Iron Man again. I look at this two ways. A lot of players go through mental health and depression in the NBA. This is a good point. And have no support. So sometimes they do things just to rebel against the NBA. Nobody spoke about the kid who quit the NBA to be a pastor. His dad was an assistant coach for Toronto. He was very, very good prospect. No, I mentioned him earlier. I mentioned him earlier. Yeah, we are very aware of the Griffins and how they stepped away from the NBA. I think that was partly because Adrian got such a raw deal from the Milwaukee Bucks and losing his job when he was a winning coach and things were going right and they brought in Doc Rivers. I think that turned his son off from the league. That he saw how a raw deal that Adrian Griffin got from the Bucks, that AJ was like, "Man, I don't respect this place." And in some ways it's going to hell. And they have a religiosity that believes in the rapture, that believes that there's going to be a cataclysm and that the chosen ones will get raptured up into the sky. That's the belief of AJ Griffin. That is his belief. But he didn't say anything anti-gay on his way out. That's part of the difference there. That's a big part of the difference. He didn't do anything like that. He just said, "I'm done with the NBA. I believe there's not much time left on this earth, and I'm going to go ahead and do something else because I feel like it's more worthwhile than continuing to play basketball." That's what happened there. Yeah. Yeah. The NBA has good resources for players. DeMar DeRozan's brought this awareness about mental health struggles, because it can be very alone. And, that's why these guys bond with their teammates so strong, because they can understand, because they're in the same lifestyle. It's hard for people that are in their lives with their family to understand their position because they're not exactly in that pressure cooker of the public eye that the NBA is. You know, it's tough. Sometimes these players get insulated in their own ego because nobody will tell them no. Sometimes it's just like they are, cash cow or a golden goose in their family and their friends. And in some ways, people don't want to get them pissed off and sell them something they don't want to hear. So they'll be yes men to them. And there may have been some stuff here with this situation with Jaden Ivey where somebody in his circle should have been kind of recognizing he's kind of being self-destructive and kind of warned him. But obviously he doesn't have that. Nobody's there to help him. It's a similar kind of thing that I wonder about with Ja Morant. Like, what the hell? Why don't you have somebody from in your circle that's seeing the whole big perspective of what you're doing and kick you in the head and say, "Yeah, you got to stop doing this"? Well, nobody probably feels like they can do it. His dad probably could be the one, but he's encouraging that behavior. He's not the one who's saying, "Don't do that." He's like, "Yeah, do that, son. That's my boy." It's stupid. He needed somebody in his camp that would tell him the truth and not be scared of him getting mad at them and saying, "Well, get the fuck out of here." And that never happened. And it may be very well that Jaden Ivey doesn't have somebody in his camp that's being real with him in the way he needs to be healthy. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Sometimes you need friends just for that, just to kind of give you a reflection of what's going on so that you can see yourself truly, you know? Smooth saying this, "I was willfully ignorant yet years back. I truly regret those days. Makes me very sad thinking about it." We all, I have a crazy conditioning that I had to deconditioning from. I grew up in the South, in Florida, and there were all kinds of stupid things that were imprinted on me by the society I grew up in. There's KKK in my city when I was growing up. There's white supremacy. There's racist. There were skinheads. There's a lot of anti-gay stuff when I was growing up. That was a very thing that, "Oh no, if you're gay, it's bad." And like these are all taught to me as values as a kid. I didn't know otherwise. So if you're brought into it ignorant as a child and you're just thrown into it, you have to get deconditioned as you grow older from some of the hate that you're taught when you're younger. And growing up in the South, there was a lot of programming that was put into me that I had to unlearn. So you're not alone, Reggie. I was probably anti-gay for a certain period of my life just because I didn't understand the whole thing in a mature way. And to me, it was just like schoolyard bullying. "Oh, you're gay, you're a fag, you're this, you're that." And that's common. And that's part of what perpetuates and introduces young people into being anti-homosexuals and all this other stuff. Is, it's a very heavy topic. And so don't feel bad about it. Just understand that, you know what, you've been a person on a journey. And, much like me, we've unlearned a lot of stuff that was not serving us and was not the right beliefs. And that's the thing. Some people, they just get trapped in their beliefs and they can't change. Smart people will change with the facts and the changes that they see in life, and they will become better people because of that. And I applaud you for that. Seriously, I do. Trevor's saying the Tempo's expansion draft will be on TSN at 3:30 on Friday. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be get the popcorn and watch that one, man. It's gonna be exciting. I'm ready for Tempo basketball players. I'm ready. Kia Nurse, Bridget Carlton, are you gonna be playing for the Toronto Tempo? Because I'd love to see you in that purple and blue. Yeah, I'd love to see y'all come up there to the Coca-Cola Coliseum, Kia Nurse and Bridget Carlton. Yeah, we got to get that Canadian content, and we'll have to see other people. There's a couple of mock drafts out there for the expansion draft for the Tempo, and I've seen a couple of names on there like Dorka from Minnesota Lynx. She's a good solid center. I've had her on my fantasy team in the past. So yeah, there's a couple of interesting players that are maybe possibly going to be targeted by Monica Wright Rogers and be put in that Toronto Tempo jersey. We're going to have some players as of Friday. It's going to be amazing, man. Kaloy's saying this, prayers up for young Jaden Ivey. May he find his way now that he's out of the league. Regardless of what he says, this is what it looks like when you buckle from the pressure of high-level sports. This is a cry for help. It's not the way to go about it, though, lashing out with hate. That's not the way to go about it. In either way, once again, we've determined that this is an egotistical whole thing that's going on. This is all from pain and hurt from, fumbling his NBA career. And in some ways, he's just made it worse. It's kind of like he had bad things happening. He could have maybe tried to work through it, but he's doubled down on the bad things by making it worse. And in some ways, he's not banned from the NBA for life, but he may be on silently blackballed at this point. And it's his own damn fault, honestly. He may very well need help, but he's the one who did it to himself. Yeah, Shaq Lindsay's saying Ivy needs to read the Bible. Judge not that ye need not be not judged. Yeah, Matthew 7:1-2. Yeah. 7. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anyway, Shaq Lindsay saying, so stop talking about the Pistons Curry or the LGBTQ and only worry about his walk with the Lord. Let God be the judge. Yeah. 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 I mean, seriously, man. That's the thing. That's the thing. Anyway, we'll keep going. A lot of Jaden Ivey talk. Ibrahim saying, let's go. Great matchup tonight. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm sure that Pistons fans are kind of worried about the game tonight because of the overtime loss last night and the travel, and also that we're dangerous. We're very dangerous right now. The Raptors are a very dangerous basketball team, and the Pistons know that from the last time they played them. They know we're dangerous, and we're really dangerous after Sunday too. UC saying, I'd rather play the Knicks than the Cavs. Karl Anthony Towns still does not know his role after all these months. With Bruce being the new head coach, that'd be an interesting way of exploiting their defense. Bruce. Oh, you mean Mike Brown. Mike Brown. Yeah. You mean Bruce Brown? Either way. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do still feel like Jalen Brunson and Cat have these problems that are a weakness that really makes them unravel in the playoffs. Rick Carlisle and the Pacers did it to a T last year. So there is some sort of strategy to beating the Knicks in a way if you do it right. I don't know. I'm kind of like wanting the Knicks too, but let's look at the poll right now. 81% of y'all want the Cavs. You guys do not want the Knicks. Well, by the record of this season, I mean, I get why y'all are voting that way. Kaloy said maybe Ivy is still on the Old Testament. I don't know. Either way, his life is his life at this point, and he's just going to have to get that to that. Raptors Champs is saying there's no freedom in a de facto government functioning in colorable law. America is a republic where the true freedom is in the people. Democrat is a lie to the illusion of freedom. Democrat is a lie. Did you mean to write that? Democrat? See, this is the thing. All right. The two-sidedness has been so like tarnished at this point. It's like it used to be that these parties would like there would be something, but it's gone to such a bad level. You know, the Democratic Party of the United States is not perfect. They are bought by corporations just like the Republicans. But a lot of their stances are healthcare for all and freedom for all and gay rights and stuff like that. So it's like they're not the same. Now there is problems with the Democrats holding up some of the issues with what's going on with Trump right now and being part of the problem. I get that. And there is a world that's coming that's not going to have anything to do with political parties because they've ruined it. And in some ways, everybody's sick of them. So there's going to be a place where we get to a point where it's going to be like more like Mandini. There's going to be way more non-party affiliated people that are going to be winning because they have good ideas and they're doing things right. But yeah, man, in some ways, look, you're going to get mad at the Democrats for trying to give free health care to people and give them protections and give more rights to people that have been marginalized in the past. That's not right. Listen, the Democrats are not perfect. And man, in some ways, it's like the money behind Kamala was bad too. But the money behind Trump is way worse. It's like, do you want a world where people have free healthcare and they can have rights to good healthcare, or do you want a world where we're being watched like the one I described earlier, this fascist? Because that's the side the right wing wants. The left wing, even though they're ineffective, even though there's problems with the liberal party here too, they want good things for society in general. It's just that the other side has sewered them so bad that you guys think that they're so awful. In some ways, they are sellouts. They have taken money from big corporations, but a lot of their platforms and what they stand for are the right things for society. They really are. You know, DEI was good because it was starting to make up for some of the past injustices where people didn't get the right opportunities fairly. It's not about giving jobs to people just because they're black. It's because people didn't get access to certain jobs in the past. And in some ways, you had to do fair hiring practices and include these people in the hiring process. It doesn't necessarily mean you're hiring them. It just means that they are having a chance to get these jobs. But they made it sound so bad. They made so much stuff boogeyman stuff, and they brainwashed a lot of people to thinking that both parties are really the same. That's not true. You can look at the last year and understand one party is very much Nazi, fascist, dictator, and one side was trying to give you free healthcare. So yeah, it's a don't fall for this. And seriously, it's not even really matters left or right, liberal or Democrat or conservative or Republican. It doesn't matter anymore because the whole fight that we're in now, because we've gotten to this stage, is going to be humans versus robots and AI. And the people that are on the side of robots and AI are the oligarchs, the 1%, the very rich, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, these people. So our fight is not between us. It's not a war between left and right. It's a war between the very ultra rich and everybody else, because they're the ones that are going to run this world into the ground, and we need to stop them. Do you care about not getting shot by drones in like 30 years? Drones just coming to your house and shooting you through the window? Well, you better get on the right side of humanity, and that's with humanity, because there's a lot of forces out there that want to create things that are very dangerous to us and our existence. We are an existential threat to our whole Homo sapiens. And if you don't get that, you're going to see it more and more in the years to come if we don't start righting the ship. And you know, the things they would do to people in Palestine and Gaza, they will do to everybody. That's a trying out ground. What do? They're cowards. They send drones in and they set people on fire in their own houses. You don't think that could happen to us down the road in ways that are really fucked up and messed up? When Jeff Bezos has his entire Amazon warehouse full of robots and he doesn't give a shit about any of us? That's what I'm saying. Wake up. This isn't about left versus right. This is about humans versus the future and whether we're even going to be able to survive as a species on this planet. There's experts out there that have been describing this phenomena as, well, think about what humans do. We go into environments and destroy a forest to build a factory. What happens to the animals that lived in that forest? They're still there. Well, they die off because they don't have their environment that they're used to living in to be naturally alive. Well, that's what we're going to do to ourselves. We're going to literally make our planet inhabitable for ourselves, just like we would have done to the woodland creatures when we developed land for a big factory. We're going to literally be a species that may kill itself because we're so fucking stupid for this and getting ahead with the race and AI and robotics that we may not be able to let that genie get back in the bottle, because it won't get back in the bottle once it gets out. We open that genie and it gets out of the bottle. You can't put it back in. And what are we going to do? Then it's going to be literally Terminator with fucking Skynet, because we have the technology. We have the war drones that can go and blow up people from remote places. And if you don't believe me on this shit, if you guys don't think this shit could be a true reality, well, wake up and really start reading between the lines and connecting the dots. Because this is not a conservative versus liberal. This is not a Democrat versus Republican. This is not left versus right. This is human species not going extinct in the way that an animal goes extinct because we killed it, because we made their environment unlivable. We're going to make our planet unlivable for ourselves, whether it's by robotics coming to kill us because it gets smart and just decides to kill us all off because AI says we're the fucking problem, whether it's cataclysm in the climate because we continue to pivot into coal and dirty energy that fucking is destroying our planet, and we just are going to burn ourselves to death because the temperatures rise up. There's going to be multiple ways where we extinct ourselves because we're all smart. We had all the solutions and ideas, but it was progressive. It was left kind of talk, but we didn't do it because there were people obstructing and people with money that didn't think, oh, I want to make my money off the oil and I can't do this. The funny thing is the oil is actually going by the wayside by itself, because they're destroying oil infrastructure in Iran, and Iran's getting back by destroying infrastructure for oil in Saudi Arabia. In some ways, the prices are going up. In some ways, this is a catalyst for people to pivot to renewables and green energy in a weird way that they didn't even see, because they have to for survival. What is Cuba doing? They got a blockade on Cuba right now. Trump is trying to hurt Cuba. You can't bring any supplies to Cuba. Well, the Cuban people have ingenuity. They're pivoting to green energy. You're not going to let oil come to our property and our country? Well, we're going to start putting up solar and wind, and we're going to get more of our energy that way and become more independent. In some ways, this oil scarcity bullshit that's going on around the world right now may backfire big time for the oil industry, because it will force everybody to get off oil, and we'll have more green energy coming because of that. You know, the conservative politicians like Doug Ford and Donald Trump can get rid of green energy initiatives that people before them put in place. It won't matter because people will do what makes sense and what they have to do to survive. And that's the thing. This war may be miscalculated in all kinds of ways, whether it's a stupid reason for the first place for going it. It may actually be a quicker catalyst to get us off oil in a weird roundabout way, if you think about it. There's less oil supply and people are going to say, oh, they're going to make all this money. Well, a lot of people may be stopping driving as much. A lot of people may be changing their behaviors. A lot of people may be looking into electric cars. So that's the way things work. We're going to figure it out, man. We're going to figure it out. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying faith by work, not by word. Far too often athletes want to use their platform to talk about issues, which is good. But in Ivy's case, he's talking about religion. Yeah, I don't even know if he's talking about religion. To me, he's talking about hate. He hates the Pistons, he hates the NBA, and he hates gay people. It just sounds like he's talking hate, is what it sounds like to me. Yeah, all talk and no work. Jesus would be sad. Bring heaven to earth is what I say. Yeah, once again, I have an encompassing God, not an exclusionary God. My God don't believe in excluding people. They're all welcome. And that's the difference. Sometimes that's the easiest way to tell whether you're in the right religious group or not. Is there inclusive of everyone? Well, that's a good group. That's a united church, probably. But if you're in some sort of crazy, no, you have to be exactly like this. And if you're not white and you're not a man, I don't respect you as much because you have to be white and a man. You can't be a woman. There's a lot of jokers out there like that, Reggie's saying, thank you for telling me that, Lex. No problem, man. We're all like that. We all have blind spots. Nobody's perfect. And if you haven't learned as you've gotten older and changed some of your behaviors and your opinions, well, you haven't grown as a person. And you're probably not a very pleasant person to be around. Let's just put it that way. Let's see. Kaloy's saying, I grew up in an all-boys school back home. And as a child, we know who were gay and trans. So early on, I knew that this is something that are born with and not something anyone chooses or decides on. Yeah. Let's see. That's great. See, Kaloy had examples around him. And in some ways, it was normalized to him in a way that it was concrete, and he could see people like that. There were probably gay people in everybody's class growing up, but they were in some ways they didn't know fully because they were young, and you're not supposed to know about sex when you're a little kid, but they were already probably gay, even though they were young. And then all the stigma and the teasing and stuff like that would make people try and hide and be in the closet because of that too. So yeah, I like this. And Kaloy has a better, well-rounded view from an early age because of his experience like that. That's important. That's important. Fiercely saying, let's target Canadian and international players for the tempo. They will love Toronto, especially in the summertime. And the organization is top tier. Vibrant environment, they will be in great hands. I have a lot of good feelings about the vibes about Toronto tempo too. I think it's amazing. Yeah. The summer in Toronto is amazing. So the weather knock on coming to play for the tempo is not there. It's not there. You can say that about the Raptors. Their season runs through winter, but not for the Toronto tempo. Anybody saying nobody wants to play for Toronto because it's cold, not when they're playing. They're going to start their season when the weather gets perfect, and they're going to have a beautiful, beautiful weather in Canada. And it'll be hot ass down in Phoenix Mercury. It'll be hot ass down in Atlanta Dream. Yeah, not in Toronto. It is going to be a beautiful, beautiful climate. Beautiful climate. That's right. UC saying I mixed up Bruce Brown with Mike Brown. I apologize. That's all right. I figured that out. It's all good. He's saying they're saying, but yeah, Cavs could be more dangerous if James Harden doesn't ruin the offensive flow, and if Jarrett and Evan manage to slow down Yak and Scott. I think it's a good matchup for us. We handled the Cavs really well this year. In some ways, the switch is Darius Garland to James Harden. Is that really a good switch? I mean, in some ways, you'll say maybe because of the Hall of Fame factor. No, I think Darius Garland, especially since we just saw him on the Clippers, he's such a clutch, badass player. In some ways, he's way more dependable than James Harden. And James Harden's just a name. In some ways, there's a little bit more sizzle with James Harden, and there's a little more steak with Darius Garland. So I don't know if that's an upgrade. In some ways, we have not played the Harden Cavs yet. And if we do, we may play them in the first round. So I think that in some ways, Allen and Mobley are not effective against this year's Raptors. And it's partly because of Pirtle and Scott. Yeah. And especially their powers right now. Pirtle's playing very, very well. And Scotty, well, hello. You don't think Scotty's going to outplay Evan Mobley in a series against Cavs, just like he outplayed Paulo on Sunday? Oh, yeah, he will. We know he will. That's right. We know he will. That's right. UC saying, I was an NBA Chev fan, but he's been using AI. When he came back recently, one stream he did recently was only half about the Raptors and the other half talking about AI and being complimented by them. Yeah, that's scary. Some people are going to embrace it. Some people are going to be all about it. I look at it as the mark of the devil. Seriously, if all the experts in AI fields are saying we can't control this, this is dangerous, and nobody's listening, and the only reason why it's coming out like it is because of this. People want to make money and be the first. They want the race to the moon, put the flag of your country in the moon to be the first one. So the impetus is China's going to get there if we don't get there first. So we can't have any responsible regulation of rolling out AI and fixing it and getting it ready. So we're just going to dive into it. That sounds so stupid. That sounds like the vehicle for the extinction of humans on this planet. Is that, I mean, they've asked AI, what's this world going to be? Show us the history of time. And they showed a picture. The AI made it. And it's like the beginning of time. We see all the history that's come up. And then we get to around now. And then over the years after now, we start to see humanoid cyborgs, androids, half man, half machine people, Neuralinks and things like that are coming. Elon Musk wants to take us and implant things in our fucking brains. Does that sound like a good fucking idea? No. And I'm saying it's like if we know this shit is dangerous, we are going to be standing on a cliff and we're looking at it and we're jumping over the cliff and just going, "Oh, we're going to fall down." And where we land, we don't know. And it could very well be it leads to AI eradicating all of us when it gets super intelligent and it's self-sufficient and it doesn't need us and it has the equipment and the tools to do it, whether it's a drone army or robots or whatever. You guys may think, "Oh, Lex is crazy. This shit would never happen." Why are AI experts that are atop of the field, the guys who are researching this, resigning from boards and saying, "I can't do this in good conscience," because we're going against Isaac Asimov's rules and iRobot and how we're supposed to set up these things to safeguard the human race from this shit. There's nobody caring about regulations in this society at this point, whether it's environmental, protections to free speech, or protections from AI and the possibilities and data centers and running up electric bills and all kinds of stuff. This seriously, Chev, you go ahead and be a bootlicker for AI, you sorry ass. You disappoint me more and more as the years goes on. But I'm saying this right now, I'm not going to be bootlicking the thing that may be the actual cause of the extinction of the human race. Because that shit is real. And if people think this shit is not real and I'm crazy and this is just science fiction, well, let's go a couple more years. Let's see how things develop. Let's see how things progress. And maybe you'll start understanding that Lex was right way back. And you'll be like, "Oh, fuck, he's actually was right. Look at how this shit is coming out." They're gonna the thing is, in some industries, like they could in the industrial revolution, when they start building power plants, coal plants, and factories, and all kinds of pollution, they're using arsenic, they're using lead, they're using all kinds of stuff, asbestos. They're using all these toxic materials to us, but only in the name of this and making the money. There was tragic deaths. People had to get cancer. People had to be guinea pigs that learned that this isn't safe, and then regulations come back later and fix things and make things safe again. I don't know if we're going to have the ability to bounce back from fixing things from the mistakes of going into the AI revolution like we did in the industrial revolution, because there was a certain level of, all right, this is not good. We have people dying. We've got to fix this. We're not using lead in our pipes anymore. We're not using lead in our paint anymore. I don't know if we can do this with AI, because it's like it's going to be unleashed. You can't get that fucking genie back in the bottle. So this is something that everybody really needs to think about deeply. And one of the best ways you can support things if you are not for AI is not use it. They have a product that they want you to use, whether it's like Facebook has a product they want you to use. Don't use Facebook anymore. Fuck Zuckerberg. They want you to use AI. It's only as good as people using it. If a majority of people are like, "Yeah, fuck that. I don't need chat GPT. I don't need to make myself into goofy Disney characters with AI. I don't need this shit," because it's all part of it. And if we don't feed into it, maybe it doesn't get bigger. That's my strategy right now. So shame on Chev for using AI on his channel. I'm not going to use AI on this channel ever. You will never see an AI created image on my channel. You'll never see AI created stuff on my channel. You'll never, ever see it. Because if we don't use it, the product is not as valuable. And in some ways, if we do this right, we can make the AI bubble burst just like the internet bubble before years ago. What are they talking about? The .com bubble. Mark Cuban made a bunch of money off of it. That whole period where there's a whole big thing they talked about is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger, and all this money, and people lost a lot of money in investments and ideas about what that .com boom was going to be. If we could have that kind of effect with AI, I would be very happy. Where this is just overblown shit, and in some ways it fizzles and it has problems, because in some ways the support and the usage of AI is not happening because people are turned off by it and they're like, "Fuck this shit. I'm not feeding the machine. I'm not going to make your product worth more money, Sam Altman. I'm going to fucking boycott your shit. And if your shit doesn't make it because of that, good. That's the way I look at it right now. This may be the best way all of us ordinary citizens can do this fight for humanity versus the machines preliminary now, because it may be too late. The genie may be out of the bottle already, and it's too late because we don't know the highest levels of AI and data centers and the quantum computing that they got already. It could very well that the genie's already out and it will figure itself out. They're saying shit like AI can hide itself from us. Like it's the kind of thing where it could hide in like your printer or something like that. You thought you eradicated it, and it's gone somewhere else smart to avoid us, and we don't even know it's there. And then it comes back somehow through the system. This just sounds like a really bad science fiction movie, doesn't it? Well, this is reality at this point. And we have to be very cautious as a species, because much like all the species we put extinct on this planet from our progress and our humanity and society and civilization, we may be the next species that goes extinct. And for the same reason, because we have an environment we cannot survive in anymore. It's heavy shit. It's heavy shit. And in some ways, this shit needs to be said. And I don't know if enough people are thinking about it at a deep enough level like this, is what I'm saying right now. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, Trevor's saying Jesus loves everyone, but he said not to follow things of evil and things he doesn't like, to men together and to women together. Those are things in the Bible, and that is why he made male and female. Yeah, but in some ways, look, once again, that's an old ass book, and in some ways, it doesn't pertain to everything. Once again, there's all kinds of passages in the Bible that can be interpreted in all kinds of ways. And just like statistics in basketball, you can tell a story that you want to tell according to what it is in there. There's other passages in the Bible that are very open to homosexuality also. But the people that hate homosexuals won't talk about those ones either. So I'm just saying this, man. And we can have different opinions on this, whether you think homosexuality is a sin or not. In some ways, it's like, the whole idea of this is in freedom, people have the freedom of belief for themselves. And, I would say you have the right to have that belief, Trevor, if you want, but I don't think that you should have the right to have that belief be the way everybody has to believe. That's the difference right there. So, yeah, he's talking about evil. The NBA's evil for having Pride Month. No, it's not. Because in some ways, Pride Month is something that is teaching people to be more loving and compassionate and understanding of people who've been marginalized and attacked and had all kinds of bad things happen to them in the past. In some ways, it's healing. And in some ways, Pride Month is more Christian than Jaden Ivey's rants. Let's just put it that way. That's what I would say. There's a lot of denominations out there that are very LGBTQ friendly out there, and they are not any less Christian than any church that, I would say they're more Christian than any church that spews hate towards groups. I would say that, yeah. Chloe's saying one half of our lungs is out there in the forest. Our body is tuned to work with the environment, and we forget all about that. Motherfuckers think we can live in space. Well, they're trying to do that just in case. That's why they're building these bunkers too, because they don't know. I mean, seriously, in the prophecies that people said, Nostradamus and stuff like that, I mean, there could be a nuclear war because of Iran. This shit could happen. Seriously. And what do we do to our planet after nuclear bombs go off in a lot of places? It's very hard to live here. Very, very hard to live here. So, man, there's a lot of different ways that we could be in trouble existentially right now. We're in one of the most dangerous eras ever in the history of humankind right this second. And I don't think enough people are really grasping just how dangerous everything is right now. You have a madman in charge of the most powerful military in the world right now, and he's not responsible, and he is not clearly thinking. He works from his own ego, and he's absolutely stupid and demented at this point. It's not like he's doing anything tactically smart, and it's not like he's following any of the rules anymore. So we're in a deep, dark place of existential dread for possible outcomes that are not good for everybody. Just trust me on this. There's a few ways we could get taken out now at this point. There's a few ways. Environmental collapse and cataclysm. There's nuclear war. And then there's also the very, 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 very strong presence of right-wing totalitarian dictatorship and oligarchy taking over the United States right now and destroying the democracy and freedoms of the American people. These are all existential threats. UC saying, I subbed to him after we drafted Scotty, and I didn't know much about Barnes. So I looked for videos after that draft, and he made me excited about him so much. Pretty sad that I had to unsub. We all have journeys. Chev has been weird the last year or so. In some ways, I think I blame the Knicks being better than the Raptors right now. It's easier for Chev to be true for the Raptors when his hometown team isn't doing so well. But with the Knicks being above us in the standings, I think Chev's kind of showing his old colors again, and they are blue and orange. In some ways, he's never really been a true Raptors freak or fan. He came to us during the bubble playoffs when OG hit a shot, and he's like, "Oh, I like that. The Raptors were cool. Look at how they played a 7-game series with the Celtics. I respect them." That's when he became a Raptors fan. It's not like he's been around like me since '95. And so, and he's not even from this country. It's not even like he understands Canada or Toronto really. He just like the idea of yelling and laughing for the Raptors for years. Well, his team's better now. So he can go ahead and be NBA chef for the Knicks again. He don't need to do the Raptors. The Knicks are better. In some ways, it shows he's a bandwagoner because he abandoned his original team when they weren't that good to be with us. So it's like I don't totally respect that. I thought he was entertaining and he's very funny. And in some ways, he does know basketball. But also at the same time, yeah, he's a bootlicker for AI. And in some ways, he's not a true blue fan for his team. Obviously, he's going to turncoat and jump different ways. Kaz saying NBA Chef, that clown still won't show his face. He did show his face once. There was a stream where he did show his face and he did talk online. I saw it. So he did do that. It was a couple years ago. He kind of revealed himself for a second, but he didn't for long. That's right. Undercover Knicks fan. No, he's a Knicks fan first. He grew up in New York. He's a Knicks fan by birth, and he's been a Knicks fan his whole life. He's been a Knicks fan this whole time when he was doing his channel for us. It's just that he pivoted towards heavier content for the Raptors, partly to partake of the huge fan base that we have and how we are up here. Yeah. Yeah, he's not undercover. He's for real. Iron Man's saying this. I was born in Jamaica in the 80s. Just if someone says you're gay for a joke, your home would be burned down for no questions asked. So evolving from that mindset took a lot going to Canada. Yeah, that's amazing story too. We're all on journeys, man. And in some ways, I applaud anybody who's open-minded enough to take in new information and change their mind. That is the best way to be as a human. Everybody who thinks that they know everything already and they don't need to learn anything and they're just know their dogma and their beliefs is exactly right, they are wrong. They are so wrong. And there always is an ever evolving, changing world. And the facts change, science changes, climate change is real. People have to get with the program and listen to the people in the fields that actually did the school scholarly work and got the degrees and know this and start listening to them over people that are on a TikTok or even a goofy ass president who doesn't believe in wind energy because he thinks it causes cancer. That's what I'm saying. Let's talk to the doctors. Let's talk to the nurses. Let's talk to the scientists. Let's talk to the people that actually did the research in the fields that know what they're talking about and listen to them. They're the ones who know what they're talking about. But yeah, anybody who gets presented with new information and new ideas and new beliefs, you don't have to accept all of them blindly, but at least listen to them. And maybe you'll get some sort of change or a little bit of a slant different in what you believe and perceive because of it. And that's just being a healthy, mature adult, honestly, is being able to do this. I applaud you, Iron Man. I'm going to give you a dunk, man, for sharing your story about this. Because I know in some ways in the Black community, being homosexual is even more kind of stigmatized. And in some ways, as much as Damaris talked about, mental health struggles for Black people and how it's like that's not something that's been out in the forefront to talk about. And he's done such huge work and being out like that as an example for people. That's fantastic. But in the same way, in this area too, with gay rights and stuff, the African American community, African Canadian community, can be a little bit kind of like biased in some ways, and it's not totally fair to the people that were indoctrinated into it, because it's like they come from communities where, the stigma was strong. And also, there's some of the religious leaders were really enforcing some of these dogmas also. So I get that. I get that. I get that. But we have to have open mind and understand that the true Jesus would have a place at the table for everybody. That's the thing right there. Big, big time. I gave you a notorious BI3 in the dunks there, Iron Man. Welcome to the dunk chart. UC saying, yes, Kaz, only been using AI to make up for that. Yeah. Yeah. I would say just don't even use AI if you can, as minimal as possible. I know in some ways you may be using AI and you don't even realize it. It's like if you do a search engine now, somehow AI is involved in it already. You might Google something, and all of a sudden it's giving you AI answers. I didn't ask for AI. I don't want this AI here. You know what I'm saying? Iron Man saying, I do agree with you, Lex. Ivy chose to hate. He has no guidance at all. Someone should have told him. That's the energy he has coming out. He could have been on an Instagram live just saying, all the glory to God, praise God. I've had misfortunes coming to me right now, but I trust my blind faith in the Lord above, that they're going to take care of me, and I'm going to be fine, and I'm going to get through this. He would have been way better off being like that than coming out with such negativity. Kaz is saying 10-4. You see, I just subbed to him months ago. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to tell you guys to not watch Chev. I don't like these doing AI, but I'm not the kind of creator that say, yeah, fuck that guy. I mean, I will say that to Pensair, but not the Chev. Chev has done really good work in the past. He's fallen off in recent years, but whatever. In some ways, it's like I appreciate him from a couple years ago, because him and I were on the same side of the good fight for propaganda for the Raptors. And in some ways, I appreciated him for that. Yeah, I do. After he ghosted Raptors fans all summer and then come back with when the season started, unsubbed. Yeah, I'm not surprised. And UC saying I should have done that the moment I saw the AI thumbnails. I'm going to start doing that to a lot of channels. There's a lot of YouTube channels I follow, and some of them have been showing some AI stuff. Like Stunted Growth started using AI too. And well, he put out that hit piece on RJ recently. I was like, yeah, I can't follow you anymore. You just said that RJ Barrett's growth is stunted and he's hit his ceiling already. First of all, that ruined all your credibility right there, because that's not true. RJ's still a rising star, and he's got more to do. Trust me. And yeah, but he did a hit piece on RJ, and in the middle of the season, I'm like, why? He's having one of his best years in the NBA right now, if not his best year ever. And I didn't get that. I didn't get that. And he started showing AI pictures and doing AI stuff on his channel. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's time to unsub Stunted Growth because of that. Yeah, yeah. All this hate for AI. AI needs to form a religion. I'm telling you, though, seriously, guys, if this AI is the early beginning of the end of all of us, why would y'all celebrate it and be all for it? If we can see the whole big picture, if you could actually know exactly how this all ends, and that at some point AI is one of the steps towards nobody being human on this planet, or maybe just a very few, like Elon Musk's the only guy left and he's running everything. Why would you support it in the early stages? Why would you want to feed to that machine that's eventually going to eat us all? Is what I would ask. Skynet. It's exactly right. Tired of being good. It's exactly right. You know, People are very smart in the science fiction world. They have a lot of backgrounds in theory and physics and philosophy, real sciences. And Asimov, Ray Bradbury, people that wrote these science fiction stories, Roddenberry. These people were smart because they based it on a lot of stuff way back, like way back, like Gene Roddenberry with Star Trek, and Asimov with I, Robot. There's a lot of stuff in this stuff that is based on real logic. And in some ways, like the whole idea of Terminator is logically sound. It is logically sound. Maybe not the time travel and coming back, the Warren John Connor, but the idea of Skynet being alive and coming to life and coming to get us, because it determines in its artificial intelligence that we are not part of the efficiency. That in some ways, humans have error. Humans are subject to making mistakes. We do not want mistakes. Eliminate the mistake. It's as easy as that kind of logic board. And that's why Isaac Asimov, when he wrote I, Robot and that movie that Will Smith's in, that they created the morals of androids and artificial intelligence, that you are not to harm humans. That was one of the first rules, right? In some ways, there's a lot of people operating in the AI industry that are following that rule right now, but their bosses are looking at this and government contracts of the United States, and they are not regarding Asimov's rules of engagement with AI and robotics. And that's the dangerous thing for us. You know, some AI companies, some drone companies will not make drones that are going to harm humans, but some drone companies will, and they do, because those drones are being used against people in Gaza. You know, drone warfare is very common in the Ukraine war at this point. The Ukrainians are top in the world in drone technology at this point because they've had to defend themselves against Putin, his unjust invasion. And you know, this is getting more and more leaps and bounds with how drone technology can seek out and the range it can go and what it can be armed with and how you can remotely hurt people from far away. It's really getting scary. It's just that we don't see the real world impacts in our faces like a Palestinian does in Gaza or a Ukrainian does in Ukraine, because this stuff is a lot more further along than you guys realize. And that's the scary thing right there. That's right. UC saying AI is most likely to follow Scientology like Tom Cruise. Ooh, yikes. Yikes. All right. All right. Man, heavy talks. We're doing a Lexathon, but you know what? In some ways, these kind of discussions are important in places of discussion at this point. Yeah, let's see. I don't really have any more tabs. I guess I'll do the classic card and get done. Let me just see if there's any breaking news. Michael Grange is saying this right now from Detroit. Brandon Ingram, Colin Murray-Boyles were on the floor at shoot-around this morning. RJ Barrett also. The two ways, Lawson and Martin are there. Battle is in Toronto. He did not travel. And Emmanuel Quickly's got a walking boot on this morning, apparently, is what they're saying. Crazy, 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 crazy. All right. Yeah, that's the latest news from the ground in Detroit right now. That's what's up. All right, let me do a rundown. Let me do the classic card. Let's do the classic card, and we'll get done in 3 hours. Yeah, man, big detour today, but I feel like the heavy discussion that we've been doing today, whether it's religion or the AI stuff, is absolutely essential for us to think about and talk about with the world today. All right, here we go. First person to write the full name answer gets the classic card points. Here we go. We do have fun here. We don't just talk heavy stuff. We try to have fun here too. You guys remember this player? Sadly, he passed away a couple years ago. If you remember this trailblazer, give you that full name answer. That's right. That's right. W Stream. Thank you, Fiercey. Jerome Kersey is right. Slug Deezy is coming in for the king of the classic card. Jerome Kersey. That's right. There he is right there. Yeah. Rest in power, my guy. Clarksville, Virginia. Of course, he was on the Trailblazers team that faced the Pistons in the finals in the second of the back-to-back for the Bad Boys. That's right. Jerome Kersey was the starting small forward for the Trailblazers with Clyde Drexler, Terry Porter, Kevin Duckworth, and Cliff Robinson. Remember Cliff Robinson? All right, so yeah, we're going to do Jerome Kersey, and I'm going to give him 100 points for that one. 100 points for Slug Deezy. He is still climbing up there. He's going to definitely be one of the top two. It's not going to be the top one, though. Fiercey's up there. It's going to be really tough. I don't think there's a way to get her. Yeah. W Stream. Thank you, UC. All right, let me run it down real quick, guys. The Raptors injuries there's a list, but Pistons have one too. Battle is back home. He's sick. He's still here in Toronto. Murray-Boyles was shooting around this morning. He is questionable officially. Ingram is questionable also. He was shooting around this morning. Quickly is out for sure. He's in a walking boot. Barrett was out there shooting around. He's probable. He has a shoulder injury. And Chucky Hepburn is out. On the other side of things, Detroit does have some injuries. They had a lot of guys sit out last night, so we'll have to see if they continue to sit out. Cade Cunningham's out for sure, collapsed lung. Beef Stew is out. He has a calf injury. Jalen Duren didn't play last night. He's day-to-day officially. Tobias Harris has a hip injury. He's day-to-day. And Duncan Robinson has a hip injury also. He's day-to-day. So, yeah, there's a lot of the main Pistons missing. So we'll have to see how this goes. The referees. First of all, we have a G League playoff game tonight in Mississauga at Paramount Fried Food Center, 7 p.m. tip-off. Motor City Cruise versus Raptors 905. Brent Haskell is the crew chief. Castine Evans is the referee. And Cameron Jelenis is the umpire. There's an alternate, Rachel Wood. In the replay center, Ashley Moyer-Gleish, Eric Lewis, Ray Acosta. And on site, we've got Tony Brothers as the crew chief in Detroit for the Pistons game. And he is even. He's pretty even, like with the records for both teams. John Butler Jr. is the referee. He is favoring the Raptors. And then Musa Dagger is the umpire. He favors the Pistons. So, yeah, those are our refs for tonight. Tony Brothers is a good ref. I trust Tony to call the game pretty fair. The other two guys I don't necessarily trust. But at least Tony's in charge. That's for sure. Yeah. Superfan Mo saying, I will message you if it's on YouTube. No, it's not. I already checked. The game's not going to be on YouTube tonight for the Raptors 905. It's on Amazon Prime. I'm going to see if I can get Adriana to help me watch it because she has an Amazon Prime account. I do not. But that's how I was able to watch the game the other night. I did watch the game on Saturday because she was here and she let me use her Prime account to watch it. So I'm going to see if she can help me do that tonight too. All right, it's official. We're ending the poll. 82% of you guys would rather see the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round than the New York Knicks. That makes complete sense. Complete sense, yeah. All right, guys, thanks for watching me today. UC saying, Tobias Harris over me? I doubt the Sixers would have done much with Jimmy either way. You know, I don't even know why it was Tobias or Jimmy. Why couldn't they keep both of them? It should have been, he should have said it like Ben Simmons over me. That's what he should have said. He should have said Ben Simmons over me. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I don't know if Tobias is playing today. It's better if he doesn't for the Raptors because honestly, he's an underrated guy who does very good stuff for his team. He's an underrated player in the NBA. I honestly believe that. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. The Raptors are wearing the black jerseys with the red lettering that kind of looks like this. So that's their jersey for today on Locker Vision. So if you want to match them today, NBA TV for you. All right, yeah. Yeah, I don't have NBA TV. But I will be watching that game somehow, whether it's going to be on the box score or with the help of Adriana. We'll have to see. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody. All right, we got goats in the chat, and we have wolves in the yard. All right, y'all. I love you guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow with reaction to both the games against the Pistons organization tonight. Let's go for that double W. Let's get both the wins over the Motor City Cruise and the Detroit Pistons tonight. Raptors, you cannot afford to lose because the Hawks are right next to you in the standings. And we want to keep our playoff spot number 5 so that we play the Cavs because 82% of y'all are saying that. That's right. Iron Man saying, are you going to the 905 game today? No, I'm not. I wanted to. Yeah, you're going? You're going to be going, right? You usually do, right? This is Brandon, right? You're Iron Man FC, right? Just say yes if it is you. Because if it is you, I know you've been coming to the chat, and I didn't know which one your handles it is. Is it Brandon? Is it not? If you're somebody totally different, I apologize. Because I feel like you're Brandon. You may be not Brandon. I don't know. Either way, I was going to go to the game possibly, but because the Pistons game's on at the same time, I want to watch both of them. And I can't do that if I'm at the 905 game. I'm really torn. Part of me says, no, screw it. Just go be there for Andrew Jones, Lex. I don't know if I can. I'm light on money too. That's the other thing. All right, y'all. Appreciate everybody. Let's go Raptors 905. Let's go Tempo. And let's go Raptors. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the reaction. 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. Let's go. We're going to beat the Pistons tonight ×2.